Howdy, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Faab Five campaign here on the Random Rhapsody Network. My name is Matthew R. Dawson, and back during the quarantine of 2020, I got the wild hair up my ass to gather up a group of people and start an online Dungeons and Dragons campaign. This was mainly to keep my mind occupied while I was stuck at home, you know, how the quarantine is. But since then, it's been an absolutely wild and amazing ride. And honestly, at the time, I had no idea that our game would grow into what we are today. But I am very glad that we are playing and telling the story together. Here we are, 1 year later. And I am excited that we are now in our second season of this campaign. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce some people that I'm very proud to call my friends, the cast of the Faab Five campaign. So, first off, make some noise for the people's champion, and he is known as the Golden Boi, an Aqua Minotaur. He puts the Fab in Faab Five, Apollyon! And Apollyon, you're muted.
Oh, it's so anticlimactic.
Woo, yeah! It's great to be here on Monday Night Random Rhapsody. Good evening. For those of you who do not know, my name is Koines. My handle on Twitch is Phyrexian Alpha, and I'm a longtime player of Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a big fan of all types of fantasy games, books, movies, whatever. If you see me in chat sometime, feel free to ask a question or say what's up. Yo, quit hogging the spotlight. You know it's all about me, the Golden Boi. Basically, let me tell you right here. I'm a 7-foot-tall red-skinned Minotaur barbarian. I was raised in the Cragmire Mountains. Our village was always watched over by an ancient sapphire dragon. His name was Arcades Sabath. And well, I suspect he had quite an effect on me, although I wouldn't realize it until much later. After being captured, enslaved, and forced to fight as a gladiator, using my massive strength in battle was all I knew, and as the bloodlust overtook my body began to transform. My horns had become glistening blue crystals, and my trademark smile and fabulous features are becoming more draconic by the day. And it's all thanks to my homebrew subclass, Path of the Primal Dragon, baby! I get to add lightning damage to my rage bonus and exhale my breath weapons in battle to devastate any jabroni that gets in our way. Now with the opportunity to go back to the arena for SummerSlam and fight once more for the championship belt, I am pumped up! And you better believe I'm coming for you, Grovy Bear.
Yeah, baby. Next off,
Nice.
we have the black cat who hides in the shadows and you never want to cross your path. Blood from a Stone. Take it away, Blood.
The shit do I say after that? Well, I am Blood from Stone. I am an assassin rogue. I hail from the Margarden Federation, from some of the more shitty regions of it in the Gentler Wastes. I have lived in the shadow of the Dreamer Mountain my entire life. Maybe one day I'll get to visit there personally. Things have gone a little, I guess, better in my life since I met these crazy assholes that I do call the Fab Five. I was on my own for a while until I helped a certain red Minotaur escape from captivity. And now I've kind of got a little bit more of a cheery exposition. Don't you think, everybody? Aren't I a little nicer? I do murder people.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, you're my best friend, buddy.
I've murdered a few people, but that's okay. They don't mind. And now I'm just trying to get through life and figure out what exactly is going on. It's just me.
I like it. Next up, we have a young woman whose tale is her true arch nemesis, Eloise Brightcrystal. Take it away, Eloise.
So we're not going to talk about my tale this time. Anyways, I met all these lovely gents on my way. I was on a little walkabout sent out by my mentor because he thought I needed to see the world and learn about it some. What I've learned is scary. Also, the world's not a very nice place. I think I want to go back to my forest. But these guys all seem pretty great, and I kind of want to figure out what's going on because there seem to be some bad people doing bad things, and I wanna fix that.
There's definitely a lot of bad people doing a lot of bad things, and your group is kind of caught up in the middle of it.
Mhm.
Next up, we have a man whose name is a mystery, but his skills are not. Liam O'Shea.
Pleasure to meet you all. Liam here. Drinking's the game. Thinking's not. I enjoy a good whiskey every now and then, usually keep it on me, and I met these motherfuckers while I was having a few drinks on the road. They seemed like more fun than traveling alone, so there we went, and, there's some funny motherfuckers there. 5 minutes in, and the Minotaur man throws me over his shoulder. Anyhow, I was supposed to go north to meet my master. Didn't really feel like going that way. Wanted to meet these guys up and learn a bit more about this army here. Well, I don't like the water. My ribs are broken right now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I might like to sing.
Indeed he does. Hopefully we'll hear it again sometime. And last but not least, we have the Dark Wizard with an obsession for reusing and recycling. Necthros Veil. Take it away, Veil.
Good evening. I'm Veil, your friendly neighborhood necromancer. I've been studying hard and honing my sharpest tool, my mind. I've come a long way since the Underdark, and have seen a lot, and yet I'm still amazed and intrigued by these topsiders. I still know I'm the smartest person in the room, but on 2 separate occasions I've miscalculated and almost cost a few people their lives, including my own. I'm still pretty selfish, but I've been working very hard on my people skills. I try to raise at least 2 every day.
I like it. I love it. Awesome.
Vale's always making new friends.
He is indeed. He seems to be very proficient in finding new friends along the way. Okay. Well, now, normally at the start of each session, I ask each of the players a question for them to answer in character. It's a good way to get everyone in the mindset of their character for the session, I feel like. This time, however, I decided to change things up a little bit. Instead of asking the players a question, I decided that I am going to allow each of them to ask me a single yes or no question. This question can be something about the campaign, the overall plot as a whole, an item, or an NPC. Anything they want, and I'm going to answer it honestly. Now, if it's a question I can't actually answer, I'll tell them to ask something else, but overall, I'll answer just about anything. So, Faab Five, instead of rolling a D100 to find out your question for the week, I would like everyone to roll a D20, and we'll see who's going first.
9.
Not any of us. There we go.
That's a 1.
Are we supposed to be clicking on our characters?
No, I'm just doing it myself. It's no big deal. Okay, let's see.
Damn, I get to start this show off? Jesus, people.
Eloise, you want to roll off for second place?
Oh, sure.
19.
Oh, shit. Oh, look at that. She rolled really well, too.
And what was Apollyon's? 3? 8.
8.
So it looks like the order is going to be Blood, Veil, Eloise, Apollyon, and Liam. Okay. Blood from a stone. What is your question?
I have been thinking about this since you brought this up to us, and I thought something that could help the party, help us get more information. But then I decided, you know what? I just got to go selfish. The white furred tabaxi that Eloise essentially accosted on his own ship. Is that my brother?
No.
2 Rivers. Interesting.
Okay.
I missed it. What did you say?
I said no.
Oh, okay.
Veil. You're up next.
All right. If I play my cards right, will I be getting my coveted Tome of Clear Thoughts within the next 1 to 3 levels?
Cool thoughts?
Tome of Clear Thoughts.
Clear thoughts. I thought you said tome of cool thoughts. I'm like, whoa, is this a surfer thing we're finding now, or are we going full California?
That's an Apollyon item.
All my thoughts are cool, baby.
Okay, so your question is, if you play your cards right, could you find the Tome of Clear Thoughts in the next 1 to 3 levels?
Yes.
The answer to your question is yes.
Yeah.
But I'll
All right,
also
thank
say
you.
that is possible because literally anything is possible. It depends on the choices you make and the directions you choose to go.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, who was next? That was Eloise. What is your question?
Well, I haven't heard back from him, and I was just wondering if Vulcan had received my message and if he was okay.
Well, that's 2 questions. However, I'm going to answer yes.
Which one is it?
You're kind of breaking up, Blood.
Oh, well, she's gonna have to wonder which one that is.
No, I answered both.
Oh, sweet. Never mind.
Apollyon, you're up next.
All right. The question of the day is the Zayim Al Ruan Maharan working with the Cult of the Dreamer?
I cannot answer that question.
Okay. Is he the leader of the Cerulean Syndicate?
Yes.
Where do you know that?
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Oh.
Unfortunately, that question is a little bit out of the scope of the parameters of this game.
Okay. I took a risk. I knew that.
Yeah. Is it good? Liam.
Well, now with this creature dead that said I was not a threat at all. I was wondering, is this going to devastate their army?
No. Okay. That's it for you guys.
That was a great question too.
Those were all great questions in their own right. So, I hope you all had fun with that.
We did. I did.
Okay. But there's something I forgot to mention. You see, when I told the group last night that I would be answering each question honestly, I wasn't being 100% truthful. I did answer everyone's question honest. I did answer everyone's question honestly. Everyone, that is. But one of them. Which one isn't true? Well, I guess we'll just find out.
Oof.
Okay. So why don't we jump into tonight's episode? I see the look on your face, Joe, and I love it. Thank you. That's going to be a meme tomorrow.
Mine. It's my fucking question.
So, last season on the Faab Five campaign,
Bastard.
a group of wayward travelers banded together on the road and started off on a journey that led them across the Dowan Empire and into the Margarden Federation as they became entangled with an ancient cult bent on changing the very nature of the world around them. Together, this new group of adventurers had faced down armies and dragons on their travels. They've made new friends, dangerous enemies, and have generally disrupted the lives of countless individuals along their journey. The group has laughed together, cried together, and saved each other's lives more than once, one might expect for such a ragtag group. But now, Faab Five, you all find yourselves at the bottom of an ancient temple hidden deep below a lake far to the east of Laverin. You had decided to ally yourselves with the Erudite Conclave, an order of lore masters and archaeologists who record the history of the world and fight to regain the lost wisdom of the ancient world. You befriended a Conclave field researcher named Tomas Rothen, who had been investigating the cult of the Dreamer, where he met you all. And he enlisted your aid in his latest investigation, namely, to seek out an individual known as the Dream Witness, who Tomas believed could reveal the true intent of this cult of the Dreamer. Following your leads, eventually led you to this very island, and, on our last episode, you confronted the Dream Witness and attempted to learn the truth. During that encounter, Veil pressed hard to uncover the location of a magical tome he read about in his youth. The figure who first appeared to the Faab Five taunted the group before showing a vision to the group of a distant location and a plain leather book among a treasure hoard. Veil pressed on about the book and just barely managed to fight off the mind-enslaving effects of the thing that was floating in front of him. This caused Eloise to react and cast the slow spell, revealing to her the fact that the robed figure was nothing more than an illusion. This revelation sent Veil swimming down to the lower level of the tunnel, where he found a vision of horror in the waters below the lake. A fish-like monstrosity with long tentacles that ended in large eyes at the tips and a massive singular eye in its center. Veil cast his signature spell on the ancient aberration, catching it in a magical field of entropy, but the horror lashed out with its eye ray of its own, instantly rendering him unconscious and bleeding out. Through a heart-racing series of events, Liam managed to stun the creature, and together, the remaining members of the Faab Five launched themselves into a furious attack to save their fallen friend. In the end, the Faab Five managed to defeat the Dream Witness, and with its dying breath, the creature showed our heroes a disturbing vision of a massive monster destroying a gigantic tree. When your visions finally cleared, you found the body of the Dream Witness dissolving away, and the remaining humans you didn't kill in the temple are beginning to cry out in the confusion as they try to stand. Your group swam down to the lower chamber, where they first found the true Dream Witness, and there the group discovered a treasure chest filled with ancient platinum coins, 2 unidentified potions, and a gold crown with an onyx gem resting on top of the coins. You also discovered a small tunnel leading east at an upward sloping angle that just kind of went off into the darkness. And so, Faab Five, you had gathered a bit of what you could from the corpse of the Dream Witness, and you put that in your bag of colding. I assume you also gather up everything from the chest, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Who took the potions in the crown?
I've just got them. Oh. I don't know who took. I think you were gonna identify him.
Yeah, I would identify them. If you're over there, I'll go over to you and try to ritually cast Identify on these items.
Okay, so you're casting Identify on the 3 items. Now, that's going to take you about 33 minutes in total.
All right. So how about we just do it on one of the potions in the crown?
Okay, so that would
Because
be
the
20.
potions look identical, correct?
Yep, they appear identical. And it is about... That will take 22 minutes.
Okay. And we've stated before that I can't identify as I'm walking, correct?
No, it is an actual ritual spell. You have to sit down and perform the 10-minute ritual, and yada, yada, yada.
All right. Does anybody have any objection to that before we move on?
No,
The reason I ask is if this crown is in fact cursed, I don't think we want to be taking it with us.
Yeah.
So ritual cast.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Sure. While he's doing that, can I swim up the tunnel and see where that leads?
So, yeah, you absolutely could, Apollyon, because you've got your swimming speed. Are you gonna swim for the whole 20 minutes following the path?
Well, depending on how far it goes, I guess.
Okay.
10 minutes there, 10 back.
You tell me. I mean,
I have no idea how long the path is, so...
Well, then let's say you begin swimming up the tunnel. The tunnel itself is not very huge. It's about 8-9 feet wide all the way around, and narrows a little bit as it goes in, but it's still more than big enough to accommodate you. And you begin swimming off down the tunnel. What's everybody else doing while Apollyon is checking out the tunnel and Veil is casting his Identify spell?
I figure I'd be guiding these lost people into this smaller room over here.
Okay. So as you go swimming over towards the people, they seem to be in pretty big distress. Most of them are questioning, where am I? Who are you? What is this place? And it doesn't take you long to realize that they're actually chained at their ankle to the floor.
Ah. Then I will go get Blood and inform him of this with his mad lock-picking skills. I figured he could start picking these locks in the time that he's casting that.
Okay, I can do that. I assume they're locked.
They are locked. It's not a huge DC. I'm not going to make you roll for this. It's just while Veil is doing that, you can spend those 20 minutes going around and carefully picking these locks. Are you saying anything to them while you're working?
I'll just start asking them, like, what's their name, where they're from, do they remember how they got here?
Okay. Tomas is coming over to help you as well, and together the 3 of you begin speaking to people. It's very quick to realize that they have no memory whatsoever beyond realizing that they're here. They don't have any names. Most of them are asking, who are you? Who am I? Where are we? How did we get here? These people are very emaciated. Like, when I say emaciated, I mean, imagine you're a person fed minimally and kept in a sitting position for years upon years. Most of these people now that you're looking at them, you're beginning to realize are closer to the elderly side of things. Late 40s to early 60s range. Quite a bit of them are human. There is a couple dwarfs and a tiefling as well. What they are really isn't that important because they have no idea who they are or why they're there, and all these people are terrified, absolutely terrified right now.
I'm trying to calm them down. Just telling them that I'm someone that you can trust. Stay calm, and we'll work. You'll remember tomorrow. So I'm just kind of giving them guidance that tomorrow their memories will come back to them. They'll be fine, with a persuasion of 23.
Okay. And with your 23 persuasion, you do seem to be getting them to calm down a bit. And they seem to be a little more taking relief that you're taking charge and reassuring them, I guess would be the best way to put it. But that you are definitely calming down. That none of them seems to be overly anxious. They're all scared, obviously. But they do seem to be taking in everything you're saying and at least getting some comfort there. So, Apollyon, you go swimming for about 10 minutes time, 11 minutes time. The tunnel itself does not narrow. It stays at fairly a consistent size at this point. The path has gone eastward and continued just a slow, steady incline upward at a very gentle slope. You can tell as you're going down this tunnel, it is rising a little bit. But in this dark, confined chamber, other than a few lake plants here and there, it's feeling a bit claustrophobic.
Do I see any kind of lighter, any light up ahead or anything?
You have not.
Okay. Would I even have a way to keep track of time?
Not really. I mean, other than counting in your head and that sort of thing.
I think I'm just gonna turn around and go back before I get too far away. Yeah.
Okay.
This goes on forever.
So you turn back around and begin swimming back towards the group. By this time, Veil, you have been able to cast your Identify ritual on the two items. What's that, Eloise?
I was gonna ask when there's just 10 minutes left. How long have we been underwater?
You're muted, Joe.
I don't think I'm at most 8 hours maybe. We haven't been underground because not a whole day. Definitely not a full day.
Do you remember what time you guys got to the island?
It was evening.
None of you have the keen mind feed, so you mostly.
It was definitely after dark.
They had a fire or whatever. They had that stuff going, but it was it was late when we got there.
Yep, it was late. It was
and I
late.
didn't cast water breathing until we were just before we went through the portal.
Yeah, in
the
underwater. Yeah, into the Manicore's chamber. So it definitely has not been 24 hours since you were in that chamber anyway, because you're still breathing water.
Yeah, but it hasn't even been close to 24 hours yet.
It's hard to judge because there are no windows. You are completely under the lake and in an underground temple. You guys can kind of guesstimate what time it is, but since you don't have a clock or anything like that, it's hard to judge exactly what time it is. Do you guys want to do anything else during the 10 minutes?
Okay, well then, just in case I will ritually cast water breathing on us, just in case. So by the end of the 10 minutes that it takes, Apollyon should be back, and I can get all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You can,
just in case.
You can definitely do that. That's no problem whatsoever. Veil, the potion that you cast Identify on is a potion of cure disease.
Ooh, those would be interesting.
The crown. What's that?
We got 2 of those, right? Yeah.
Correct. And that's the crown.
Crown of the Deep.
Ooh, those are cool. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That completes my Aquaman motif.
You gotta
It does.
attune all of them.
Oh yeah, tune it.
No arguments from anyone in the group.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
who's
was gonna
gonna
say,
fight Apollyon for it if he wants it? He's
How
gonna
long does
get
it take to attune? Does it take an hour?
An hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, an hour is short rest.
So, as Apollyon comes back, I explain to him what the crown is, and I'm holding it out to him as if, with my mage hand, as if this was made for him and it belongs on his head.
All right, I really feel like royalty now. I'm Aquaminotaur.
So you put the tiara on or the crown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it cursed?
You put it on. It's beautiful. I just asked him. Why do you try to take it off?
Well, I guess the trident's not,
Yes, I try to take it off right away.
You
I
immediately
guess
you immediately take it off and hold it in your hand.
the
Okay.
the manta ray cloak and the trident, I guess, aren't attune needed to be. So this is the only one you need to attune.
So
to.
I'm just gonna, the next time we rest, give up my circlet of intelligence or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're wearing the circlet, so you'd have to take that off before you could put the crown on.
Yeah, so we'll just wait till we rest.
Well, I'll take it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I can't just give it to you now.
I know.
Well, you could, but
But it would still be attuned to me. It wouldn't do either
yeah,
one of us.
it wouldn't do either of you any good. I'm just saying you can.
Being I had a whole speech about, hey, this is what this item will do for you.
It would make me dumber if I put it on.
It actually would.
You can't get to be more dumber than I.
It'll help blood find traps.
Okay, so what are you guys wanting to do?
I vote we either secure this room here and try to get a long rest, or go up topside to get a long rest. Either way, I'm tired.
I'd love to be on land for this rest, to be honest.
Well, didn't Blood want that tabaxi gem from the other room?
You just gotta bring it up.
Plus, you got water in your sacks now. You're gonna want to empty them out.
I don't want to deal with that other trap. We'll forget the gems.
Vale looks at you all shocked. A rogue. Forgetting about gems.
No. It's not that I'm forgetting about them. It's I don't want to fucking get hurt again. That goddamn
You know
thing
what?
almost ate me.
You've changed. You've changed. You're almost like a ranger now.
Well, it's funny you mention that. I mean, we could go look at him if y'all want. We just need to find a way to clog that trap again so it doesn't eat me.
Well, it's got the dead body on it.
Well, y'all are really fucking playing with his emotions here.
Alright, real quick, Matt. So, when I leveled up, I gained a level. Does that give me... I'm sorry, I gained an additional spell slot.
Sure.
Does that give me that spell slot?
So the way I've always imagined it is whenever a wizard is in his downtime, he's working in his book, working out spells. Koines will know that the wizard that I play, I say shit like that every time we're in our short rest, because that's in my mind how a wizard gains his next spells. During the interim, every night he's working on his spell book, trying to devise new ways to do spells, and then when you level up and you gain your next spells, those are the spells you are working on. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, that makes sense. So I gained, 2 additional 4th level spells, or 2 additional spells, but I gained 1 additional spell slot. So I'm assuming.
Well,
I gain a
you
spell
still
slot.
you'd still have to take your long rest to get to have your spell slots restored. But when you
Okay,
complete
so
your long,
that was my question.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you leveled
So-
up and you have that information, but you still have to go through a long rest to restore the spell slots.
Okay, I knew multiple spell slots, but I figured since I leveled up and I gained 1 additional spell slot, I wasn't sure if that one gave me that, at least 1 spell slot. But if not, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you
Anyway,
hurry up and go up topside and take a long rest, and you'll have it. I mean, it's
okay.
depends on how long you guys are wanting to go take a long rest.
Yeah, I think we should go go in the other room, grab those gems, and then head up top.
Are we gonna go through this tunnel here that Apollyon went through? Or are we going back to the beach
Yeah,
where
what's
the
your
horses
plan there,
are?
Polly?
So would I be back by now?
Oh yeah, you're definitely back.
Woo! That tunnel's long, y'all. I don't know where it leads. I swam down it for a while and didn't find anything, and decided to turn back for I got too far away from you all.
Now, did you swim down it or did you swim up it?
It seemed like it was going up a little bit towards the surface,
Alright.
maybe.
Don't
It's
you
just
think
very
it maybe
long.
leads to the lake?
It might lead to the lake somewhere, but remember, our horses are up above. We'd have to go
Hey,
back
above
behind
us
it.
on the island near the lake.
Yeah, but what if this thing could come out at the very far end of the lake, and then we have to walk across the fucking water again just to get to the horses?
But you're afraid of a little swim.
No, it's just a waste of resources. You'd have to burn a spell slot then. You'd have to use more magic then. We're resting on the island, or are we leaving? Why don't we just go up now, rest, and then leave in the morning?
You have to remember that
Sure.
Apollyon Shark Friend is on the other side of those doors waiting for
Yeah.
us as well.
But his new pitchfork there gives him command over that shark.
Oh, that's not the only traps.
Indeed it does, because I'm Aqua Minotaur.
So he can use whatever that trident has to keep telling that shark to stay away until we are past.
As you guys are kind of debating this, Tomas comes swimming up to you all, followed by what people can actually move around in the water, and they're having a difficult time trying to even move around. As I said, their bodies are like horribly atrophied. They have no muscle tone whatsoever. They're very little more than skeletons. There's a couple of them that are moving around, but a lot of them just seem like they're having a difficult time. And Tomas comes down swimming towards you all, and he's like, "So, what's the plan, everybody? We getting these
Everyone
people out of
wants
here?"
to go backwards. They're afraid of the tunnel.
Not we're afraid of the tunnel. It's we don't know where it's going to take us. He was swimming for 10, 15 minutes, and he still didn't reach the end. It could come out on the other side of the mountain. We don't know.
Well, all right then. We head backwards.
What about all these people here? We can't just leave them.
We may have to put one on each of our shoulders. Come back
I
and
can
do
drag
a second
'em.
trip, probably.
You guys got
I
rope?
can give them the option. So I turn to the people and I say, "Ladies, gentlemen, if you will listen to me carefully, in the words I say very carefully, I could ease this burden you guys all have right now and end it swiftly for you if you'd like to step into this portable hole I have." And I give them the option to either take me up on the offer to walk into the portable hole, and I tuck it away and continue up to the surface, or I don't know what the other option is for bringing them up.
You're gonna have to beat a persuasion of 23 because I'm going to be telling them not to go into that hole.
Well, so
All
go
right.
ahead and make go ahead and make your persuasion check first, Vale, and then make an
That
insight
was a
check.
19.
I'm gonna bump him as I go by.
Crit, it's 22.
Right on the wrong one.
Yeah, these people seem dubious at best. they're more looking at you like, what is he talking about?
Is there a way we can make like a makeshift stretcher or something?
I got it.
Tabla.
I take out
some of the materials
some rope. I got 10 feet of hempen rope, and I just tie it around my waist, and then I tell all of them to just hold on, and I'll pull them.
Wait, you've got 10 feet? Who sells
You should
rope
have
in 10
50
feet
feet.
chunks?
You should have more than 10
Yeah, I
feet.
think it
It
just
should be
says
50.
Oh, it should be 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
50
Yeah,
feet.
usually
Oh,
goes
maybe
with
10 is the weight
length.
or whatever.
Or the weight.
Okay, so I have a bunch of rope. So I tie the rope around my waist, and then have it like dangling behind me, and have each one of them grab a little bit.
So, I will repeat once again that these people have no muscle mass whatsoever. They can grab onto it, and as fast as you can move Apollyon, they're going to slip right off. Now, what you can do, which Tomas hearing this, speaks up and he says, well, we could tie the rope around each of their waists, and then you just drag them.
But they might break in half. They're pretty frail right now.
You're right.
Tie it
I
around
think
their
they'd be
waist.
better
Tie
off-
it like in their
Around their
armpits, around
necks.
their back.
Oh, yes, that too.
Just tie it around their ankles.
I'm gonna go over and I'm just gonna like shove Vale's
Did you say
head.
around their neck?
Just
did.
to take the lead on this, I'm gonna go up to the tiefling one because humans are disgusting, and wrap that one's arms around my neck and start swimming with that one on my back.
Okay. You're a human, aren't you?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah, but humans
Say.
still suck, all right? I consider myself completely aside from most cultures.
Okay, so I get it. So Liam goes over to the tiefling, who is a woman, and where you wrap her arms around you and just start swimming forward. What's the rest?
Yep.
What are the rest of you doing?
I'm going to go up to these three and scoop them into my portable hole.
Oh my
These
god.
3 dead ones.
The dead ones. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Blood will distract the others while their what might have been former friends are fucking loaded into a goddamn hole.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
gonna
making a big scene of it. Sorry, Eloise, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm gonna take
Oh,
At
don't
least
worry, I
2
killed
of them.
And with
I'm
that, sorry, go ahead, Eloise.
I was gonna say I'm gonna take 2 of them and wrap some rope around from each end, 2 of them, and I'm gonna drag from the middle and swim while I swim.
Okay, so you're basically we're daisy chaining
Yeah.
them to get them together, wrapping around underneath their armpits and kind of doing like a bit of a harness type thing with Apollyon's 50 feet of rope. And
I mean, single column is all it would take.
yeah, probably.
I got 50 feet too. I'm sure Liam does.
Yeah, you can spend some time
Bill-
working on this.
Tucks away his 50 feet of silken rope, tucks it back under his cloak.
Yeah, no, don't use the silken rope. That's gonna burn them so bad. That's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt
I'm just
us
trying to
and our
think of them.
hands. Don't do it.
Oh, it's so rough, that silk.
And so
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not. That's the shit that burns. The more contact you make, the more friction, and the more it'll burn you. You need rough rope. Sorry.
no, I defer to your wisdom on this one.
Science sucks. Rope burns suck. You want rough rope. You may lose like the top layer of skin, but skin is a renewable resource. That's so much better than a burn. Trust me. I still have scars.
Getting a lot of insight into Alyssa's private life.
Okay, real quick, are these deformed humans? Is that what we're still calling them? So I could add them to my hole?
Yeah, I would still call them
Yeah.
deformed humanoids.
Okay. It's gonna be 9
You
of them
see my
total.
brother-in-law's leg. He did I think it was a tough mutter or one of those things, and one of the ropes he was climbing, of course they're using, acrylic and nylon ropes, so they're super smooth, and he came back with such burns on his calf Like, I mean, it burned him down through multiple layers of skin. It was ridiculous. Yeah. So,
Yikes.
moral of the story: natural fiber ropes, rough is better.
Good to know. So, you guys can daisy chain up the humanoids, and while you're doing this, and Apollyon, you're strong enough. I'm just going to ask for a very simple athletics check. One time is all we need, really.
I can help you. I'm strong.
Do it with advantage.
Well, all right. 21.
21 with it's no problem. You're going to be moving at half speed because you're dragging along a bunch of people, but with Eloise helping, it's not too bad, and you guys can traverse through the water. Now, are you dragging all of them along with you as you head back to those gems?
I'll stay in like the main hallway, and Blood and
Yeah, if they're going,
can go down there.
Are you guys still going for the gems? I thought you said you weren't.
Are we?
Yeah,
All right, you're coming with me then.
yeah. I'll watch from a distance and provide emotional support.
No.
Yeah, this is the perfect time to split the party. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think they're that huge a priority at the moment.
Where's- where are they?
I'm going to remind you guys of that trap. It might not still be frozen at this point.
But that has a dead body in the mouth.
Look for a lever to turn it off, though. Like, because I'm pretty sure there would be one.
I mean, do we want to do this, or just
Unless
for
it's magic.
expediency of getting the friggin' stream moving, just move on?
Well,
Why don't we just jump to the room and see how difficult it would be to take those gems?
Well, here's the thing. Because Blood and the group, as you guys go swimming into the chamber with the face trap, the first thing you notice, Blood, you have a pretty high passive perception, that there is not a body in this room.
Got eaten by it.
Well, from your angle, you can only see the back of the column itself. But the thing you do notice is that you do not see the body that you left in there.
We throw another body in.
Want me to
that's
freeze
not-
it? I can freeze it again.
That's not my concern. My concern is, why is there no evidence of the other body?
Maybe it went down the hole, the gullet.
That's possible.
I'm gonna go over and start freezing it. With frostbite cantrips
Okay.
on the side here.
You go swimming over and immediately begin casting your frostbite cantrip, running a layer of frost over the thing. Go ahead and roll for your damage. Give me, I don't remember how many I said last time, so just give me five of your damage total.
Nice.
Fairly decent
17,
damages.
20, 28, 37.
You guys are making me have to look up the freaking damage of this thing, because I don't even remember what that was.
Oh, it did plenty to me. I remember that specifically.
I know, I have a note, I just have to pull it up.
I froze it with 37 points.
That's what it
of
was.
cold.
Okay. So, if it rolls under the damage you rolled, Eloise, which is what?
37.
37. Then it will be frozen. That's how I did it last time. Its damage was less than your damage, so it was frozen. So, if what it is 4d10. So I'm going to roll that now.
That'd be perfect. Almost.
And if you did more, the thing stays frozen. Is froze shut. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if this fails, you had to get up there close to be doing this. And if it fails, you're taking the damage.
Fun.
Just so you know. Okay? Here we go. 24 points of damage. You cast your spell and you begin swimming towards it slightly. The jaws begin to shift and hold fast, and you have frozen it closed. You don't know how long you have, but you can do it.
Blood, go. I'm gonna keep cantripping this shit. Just go.
Where's my necromancer?
Right here.
Is anyone else following Blood?
Get the diamonds.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Alright, then we'll split it. Me and you, Blood.
Sweet.
And Eloise.
All you're gonna hear from the hallway is, "Hey!"
Well, I'll check for traps on the actual gems themselves.
Okay.
I'll help you.
Roll for investigation.
Oh. Well, if he's helping. It's pretty good with the 21, but... Oh, yeah, we're going to go with that 21.
Should I just...
I'm trying to help and I'm just sticking my hands in front of your face.
Yeah, he is. As far as you can see, it does not appear that anything is... You don't see any traps. It is just gems inset into stone. Go ahead. What are you using to pry these off?
Would it be thieves' tools or sleight of hand or...
Well, I'm asking, what are you using to get
I've
the
got,
gem out?
I mean, well, I guess I've got daggers and
crowbar,
thieves'
right?
tool. Yeah, crowbar. Well, I've got I'm a fucking... Yeah, he's a thief. Of course. He's
Yeah, I would assume that'd be in a thieves' tools.
Okay. You're using a crowbar. Go ahead and make an athletics check for me.
Why? Yeah, that's gonna be great with -1.
At least you won't break them.
11.
11, you put your crowbar to that first big stone, that diamond, and you're wedging and trying to get it out, and the crowbar slips, and you hear as the diamond is cracked.
I mean, if we're going off athletics, we're not gonna get.
Wait, a diamond's cracked from a crowbar?
He rolled
It wasn't
low.
a real diamond then.
Yeah, if we're gonna be basing it off.
Well, okay, fine. A piece chipped off. How you like that? I don't know mechanics. I'm doing just a fucking.
Ruby instead of a diamond.
We're gonna
Maybe
get
his crowbar is made of diamonds.
very poor results if we keep going with it. Yeah, so. I mean,
Alright, how about this? I'll help you with the next one. Get the leverage on it. We're already here. Let's just do it quick.
Maybe try it with your dagger. That way it's more
the 2 weak.
Yeah, more of a finesse.
dexterity based.
If you want to use
Yeah, definitely use the dagger.
if you want to use your dagger, I'll let you roll a sleight of hand check.
Well, that's what I was gonna go with the dagger.
Well, you said you wanted to use a crowbar.
People are like, use your crowbar. I was like, fuck, I guess I'll use the crowbar.
I just asked if you had one.
25, sleight of hand.
Plus 15. Holy shit.
I was honestly just doing this to fuck with you a little bit, Blood.
Gloves, man.
You get your dagger in there, you work at it a bit, and you do pop out the gems. Let me see what those were. Okay, you are able to get out one slightly damaged large diamond worth about 300 gold, 6 sapphires worth about 50 gold each, a dozen emeralds and a dozen rubies worth about 10 gold east.
Do you have a list of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess what was the tabaxi one? Because that one I am definitely keeping.
Whichever one you want it to be.
Coal.
Oh, well, I'd say make it the diamond one, but I'm not going to do that.
No, don't make it the diamond, because if it's just a plain old 300 gold diamond, I can use it for Revivify if ever we need it. I think I have Revivify. Hold on.
Alright, let me put this...
Well, druids technically have it, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't have it today, but I have
Okay.
access to it.
I'll put this on our list.
Revivify.
You know what, if you want, go ahead and take the diamond for the for Revivify.
Okay.
I'll put the other stuff on here.
Yeah, that's your cut, Eloise.
Oh, the cut that's going to be used for whoever drops dead next?
Hey,
Okay.
how about we split the rest of them, Vale, and that one's actually used for the better...
This one's for the party. It's not for me.
Yeah, we'll split the others.
Never try to screw over the healer for money.
I was just gonna.
Because I'll just let you be dead.
I was half kidding when I said we should split it, just whoever came down here. But I want to come back quote unquote empty handed and try to bluff my way out of there was nothing back there.
Yeah, Eloise is gonna call bullshit.
I want to play an evil cleric sometimes that just charges the party gold to be healed.
Poe should start doing that. He's a wizard and casts heal. Poor guy. Anyway.
Yeah, wait till Mava gains a couple levels. She'll be able to lay on hands, heal all you guys.
Oh, I know. I'm just goofing around. I honestly don't care. Anyway.
All right, how about this? Yeah, all right.
And after... It takes them about 15-20 minutes or so, and Apollyon, Liam, you're both kind of getting bored sitting there waiting for them. Eloise, you keep gazing down the corridor near the thing.
Casting frostbite to keep it up.
For the sake of time, I'm just not going to have the last monster of this area kill you.
I stayed specifically frozen so that I could keep it frozen.
I was no, there is a monster in that sand-filled chamber, and I was kind of thinking to myself, when they come back through, I'm gonna have them fight it. But you know what? Since it's the first episode of season 2, and I want you guys to progress in the story, it's just gonna leave you alone.
Was that the one with the kelp? The room with the kelp on the bottom?
Yeah.
The room with the kelp. It was a death kiss.
Ooh.
That guy was. It's something that would have wrecked you, but it's okay. I'm gonna leave it alone because
it would have wrecked me with my 6 hit points.
Yeah. Yeah.
and no spells.
Yeah, but it's season 2. I'm in a generous mood, and I'm gonna say you guys are able to drag these humans through the water up to the next area. Now I'll remind you that in the next area, there was that shark, as you guys said.
Mm-hmm.
Apollyon, you swim up to that door, and when you open it, I'm going to even show you it on the map real quick, just so you can see. There's that room, and when you guys get to that bottom area, you do see that shark swimming around near the bottom. Go ahead and do what I know you want to do.
I'm going to raise that trident up and cast, Dominate Beast.
And what is the DC on that?
Fucking forgot I had a DC.
1 moment, please.
Probably like 14, or if it's an item, 12 or 14, something like that.
There we go. Okay, DC 15.
15, yeah, that's good.
And that's a wisdom?
Yes.
Awesome. This thing has a 10 wisdom. Let's see how it rolls. That's an 11, baby.
All right, it is dominated.
And it swims down by you and kind of nudges you a little bit on the side with the side of its head. Curls around and just gets in position, waiting for you.
All right, I hop on it.
Everyone, go ahead, Blood.
I was going to say, lock him in here so we could leave.
You're still tied to all these people. Don't rip them in half.
Yeah. I'd say lock him in here so we can go.
You are still tied to all these people, and you have.
He's gonna help.
You have now.
These people to the surface.
You have now just mounted this shark in front of all these people and your friends.
I'm gonna tell the shark, pull.
And it does, and it shoots off at a blinding pace. Everyone jerks back, and you hear 10 screams of absolute terror, or 9, or I don't.
It was 9.
So 8 screams of terror, because one of them is on Leo.
I've got one on my back.
Yeah, so 8 screams of terror. Has anybody ever done tubing on the back of a on the back of a
Yes.
Yep.
motorboat?
It's the best.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, some people do that.
So that's.
I love when I get whipped out of the wake. Oh, it's so good.
And that's what happened to these poor people who are basically skeletons and skin, and there's probably a bit of damage to each of them.
Yeah.
So Vale's gonna bring up the rear with his portable hole ready to go,
Oh my
just in
God.
case.
Oh my
But
god.
did they die?
Why did they die?
Someone's hoping they did.
Someone is hoping.
I'd say if Matt rolls a 4 on a D4, then they all die.
All? Jesus.
Yeah, that works for
No
me.
friends for Vale.
Ah, damn it.
It was 75% gamble.
Was there anything down here in this lower passage we should look out for if you just want to?
Nothing. Yeah, there wasn't anything in this area. It was just a wide open chamber that the sharks could have retreated to and sniped you later if they wanted to.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
You guys are able to swim back up towards the surface and of the temple, which I'll move you to that map, because you guys do come to the very top of the corridor eventually, and you all start dragging these poor people out of the water and onto the ground. Apollyon has to lift them a little bit in his arms to pick them up and move them, and probably help them take their caps off now that they are out of the water.
They're wearing those and those amulets, right?
They were.
Yeah, I'll collect those. They won't need them anymore.
Yeah, we saw them.
Now I'm looking at everyone. How is other than Vale, is anyone else rough looking?
I'm as healthy as I can be.
Yeah. How's Polly doing?
I'm okay. I'm
Cool.
around.
I'm gonna tap a cure wounds into Vale because he's limping.
I give you a side smile and a wink. Thank you, Eloise.
There you go.
The amulets they're wearing, those are those continual flame things, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got actually, because we found 7 up top, and then we collected a bunch off of dead bodies, and then we've got their 9. So we have 29 of those things total.
Well, now that you bring that up, as you're removing them off these people, and they're kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you taking these things from a stock? And they're kind of like fighting you a little bit.
Keeping them alive.
The one thing you do notice is that they are no longer glowing like they were.
So it only works when you're underwater. Maybe. Or maybe it was her powered.
Now, the caps they got on, those are underwater breathing caps, I assume.
Yeah, those could be handy.
Did you ever cast Identify on them? I don't remember.
I think
No,
I did.
they only had the medallion, and since he did cast Identify on the medallion, then they only had 2 items on them, the caps and the medallions, and their robes weren't making them breathe underwater, so I'm assuming by deduction that it's got to be the caps.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna take one of the caps and put it in my pocket, in one of my robe pockets.
And so we got 14.
You can absolutely do that.
So does anything happen to them when you take the necklace off?
No, some of them seem more confused why you're trying to. And you looked at them and you noticed this. Are you still trying to take them off them?
Yeah, in my big booty voice, I'm saying, all right, ladies and gentlemen, you'll just hand over all your possessions now. We have saved you. You are alive. Just go ahead and give us your caps and your amulets, and everything will be all right. You'll be provided dry clothes.
Now
everything you
you're
need.
robbed.
I'm gonna poke Apollyon in the back of the knee with my staff.
Blood, he'll just tell him, it's like...
All right, I'm going to roll intimidation at disadvantage since Eloise hit.
I'm gonna try to make you wobble.
I mean, like, these were items that were out of going slave.
Whoa!
Apollyon goes stumbling forward onto his knees and assumes the Loki pose out of habit. But apart from that, these people seem rather dubious about this, and they're kind of holding on to the amulets and don't seem to want you to take them.
Vale says, "Do you want to go back down there, or do you want to come back up here with us?"
Blood will just hear like, all right, guys, you're not helping. These were items of your enslavement. We just want to find out exactly what they are and what they do. We will give them back if you truly do want them later.
So before my spell wears off on the shark, I'm gonna have the shark come and like leap out of the water into this room on dry land, and then I'm gonna go over to it and just in one fell swoop cut its head off with my scimitar and go, guys, I found us dinner.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Go ahead and roll for attack.
Can you even convince it to do something that would be harmful to it? Like jump onto land, like
Doesn't know
land it?
jumping out of the water will harm it.
These people are.
Yeah, but you're beaching it.
I was thinking you could have it just hang out in that tunnel, and anything that would come down to investigate the Dream Witness would attack it. But
Yeah,
whatever you
but
wanna do.
the shark's not that big of an enemy. Somebody could defeat it.
So I am going to say that it was able to get to the door, and with its fins, it's having a hard time getting all the way through the door. It can do that, but there's not a lot of room for it to do anything. If you're wanting it to just try, if you're commanding it to beach itself, it will move forward. If that's what I'm understanding.
Don't you dare, Apollyon!
You don't want to eat some shark? It's delicious.
It is just doing what it was put there to do. Do not, like, you're gonna murder an innocent shark for no reason. It's a water puppy.
All right, I'll command the shark to come over and like nuzzle Eloise and like be nice to her, and then I'll tell it to swim as deep into the cavern as it can.
And it swims over to the edge as far as it can, Eloise, and you have to kind of step into the water a little bit.
Oh, I do, and I scritch it right underneath.
And it rubs along its gills, and its flipper kind of goes along your leg a little bit as it turns back, and its tail gently caresses along your body before it swims down into the water and disappears down the corridor back into the depth of the lake. God damn you.
Happy now?
Yes, did you know that they can't ever stop swimming or else they can't breathe?
Nope. I had no idea.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm gonna look forward to not having any idea for a bunch of stuff now. And as I say that, I take off the headband of intellect and I hand it over to Blood. I think you would make more use of this, sir.
Thank you. I certainly will do.
From now on, I'm just Fish Boy. And I put on the crown of the deep.
Hey Matt, what happens to Apollyon when he gets out of the water?
Well, you guys have been spending a bit of time swimming back up, and Apollyon, when you guys did see him last, right before you saw that vision, his skin was becoming translucent and odd, and his veins were seeing through. But after your time underneath there, you realize his body has returned to its regular form. His skin is bright red like always, and he has no issue being out of the water.
I imagine I like blow out like my nostrils and like cough up all the water that was in my lungs and everything and like make a big production out of it. But then I'm like, oh yeah!
Can I do a medicine check just to make sure Polly's okay?
Certainly.
I want to make sure that there's nothing weird happening after he got hit with that. Where's my medicine? There it is. 12!
You take a moment and examine Apollyon, prodding and poking his body in a few places, tickling along the ribs just to be mean. As near as you can tell, he seems perfectly fine.
Whew, okay. You're good. And I smack him on the shoulder.
Well, all right. I feel like a million gold pieces.
As you should. Now let's get out of here.
Let's do it.
You guys very easily can work as a team, helping these people Some of them try to support themselves as you lift them up, but it's difficult for them. They have a hard time keeping their feet out from under them. It's almost as if they haven't actually stood up under their own weight in an extremely long time. Everyone has to kind of work together. What's that?
I was going to
But
ask
they
a question.
can?
Does anybody remember if we went up any stairs to get to this room?
We went downstairs to get to this room.
But we did not go up any stairs.
Pretty much everything was downstairs to get to here.
Yeah.
Cool, so that means it's all upstairs from here. So I'm going to wild shape into a horse so I can carry a few of them.
Now, I will point out that the
Small corridors.
the corridors were pretty small. It's going to be difficult for a horse to navigate with some people on their back. Now, what I was getting ready to say, though, was that working together, you guys could easily lift and help support these people, going in shifts to take them to the upstairs, to the upper island itself, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Can she turn into a cat bus though?
A cat bus? No, I'm afraid she does not have the CR rating to turn into a cat bus.
Not yet, but soon.
I was gonna ask for like a particularly robust like goat, mountain goat, or you know.
Yeah, I'll be happy to take a couple trips, 2 or 3 trips up and down if that's what's necessary.
For expediency, it would be. I mean, Eloise could transform into a cat or a warg or something like along those lines to carry one person one at a time if she wanted to do that. That would work just fine. And all in all of you can working together. It wouldn't be a major challenge to lift these people up and take them out of the temple and up to the upper island.
Yeah, Vale will offer a hand.
Yeah, he does. I like it. Well, you do work together, and it takes you probably about 35 minutes to do this. But eventually, all of you work together and head up to the upper part of the island. You'll remember you had to go down a few corridors and up a set of stairs, and you eventually got to the outer area, which was the most unbusted up and unramshackle of the buildings of this ruined keep.
Is that gravel?
No, it's shadows. I hit him in there.
Oh, okay.
So as we emerge, Jareth comes swooping down and lands on Eloise's shoulder, and kind of like pecks at her side of her face.
Hey, buddy.
Now the one thing.
Been?
The one thing all of you notice as you step outside, it is bright out. Very bright. You all have to blink and squint your eyes as you open the doors from this room and to step outside, because the sun is full at its zenith.
What are the humanoid or whatever they are? What do they do in the light that they haven't seen in years?
All of them, you see, have their eyes closed, their head down. They're trying to shade themselves with their hands as best they can. Once you guys get them up, I imagined you all set them down on the ground to let them rest while you explored out again. And even the light coming through the holes in the walls and the ceiling and through the open doors, they're all blinded.
I'm still chatting with Jareth, and I'm like, has it been quiet up here? Is there anybody that's bothered you?
Vale looks at as Jareth swoops down onto her shoulder and how they're chatting and whatever. And Vale looks over and kind of rolls his eyes and looks back to the humanoids and says, "If you just close your eyes and let Apollyon follow you, it won't be as bad."
You see Liam turning his gourd upside down in frustration because he's all out of whiskey and he can't get to sleep without whiskey.
Well,
You might have some in the hole.
oh no. Does Blood see him doing this? I'm gonna roll a perception to see if I can see him freaking out. That's 22. I'm guessing I see him freaking out.
Probably.
But, Mr. Liam, if you remember, I went down into the wine cellar back at Sigmund's.
That's right. What did you find?
I'll just pull out because I got good wine and I think it was pretty decent whiskey. I got 5 bottles of each.
You did.
So I will
You get
I will-
an immediate hug without like a chance to stop it.
I will give him 1 bottle of each. I'll be like, I'm just holding him out and he's hugging me. They're pressed against our bellies. I was like, okay, buddy. All right, yeah. There you go. Tie one on. Get a good nap.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna open the haversack of colding and dump out all the water.
Probably a good idea. And it's cold water. Like, the water itself is just barely shy of freezing, and as it pours out, it splashes on you, and you just shriek from the cold as it hits your legs.
Not really. Cold doesn't bother me. But
Oh, that's
hey,
right.
The haversack of cold.
Oh, that's
works.
right. I forgot. You're a white dragonborn, so it doesn't bother you at all.
All right, Elsa.
Let it go. Let it go.
God, no.
Might hear blood whistling that to himself.
And Vale will dump out his portable hole because I think I've opened it since. Yes, I have opened it since I dumped it out in the tiny hut. So.
If you stick it on a wall, and after opening it up, all the water will come pouring out.
I'm gonna cast prestidigitation on myself and dry all my clothes and make the cloak of the manta ray and the cloak of billowing billow in the wind for a
Well,
moment.
you can't.
Oh my God.
You can't wear both of them. You can
Why
only
don't you-
wear one cloak at a time.
Why don't you dry out
Well,
on
it's
your
gonna
friends?
billow with prestidigitation.
Okay, well that's fine. That's totally fine.
Just this one.
Where's your cloak of billowing?
It is now in my sack. I'm
Oh.
gonna give it to somebody. I'm gonna give it to Liam.
That's a bit too flashy for me, Boyle. Maybe Vale could have it billow anytime the zombies come out of his hole there.
I think.
Like a metador. I like it.
We had a chance to change out of our ball finery that night on the road, right?
Well, I mean, you did spend a night on the road, and you did spend another night outside the island. So you tell me, did you change?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 days trip over there. We changed, yeah.
I would hope so, but I mean, you never know.
I guess Blood didn't really need to change. He had the hat of disguise.
That's true.
Phew. Okay. Good.
Good.
And I'm gonna go walk around looking for gravel. Gravel!
I think the other horses are over here.
You find them. They've been wandering about. I don't know if you found them there necessarily. You probably found them somewhere, wandering about, eating grass off the ground. They seem to be staying clear of the water, but nothing has really been there to bother them. So they've just been wandering about the island.
What about this one out in the water?
Oh, that one's dead. That one's just floating in there.
Okay.
What?
just a horse corpse.
There's just a horse corpse floating over there. I don't know. It's just in the water, so I'm going for it.
No! That's our second carriage horse!
It is.
You don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's just there, so I guess it's just a floating horse. No, I'm not going to do that to you.
Could ritually cast Speak with Animals and find out what happened!
What happened?
It was just swimming out there. He goes, well, I just wanted to take a dip. It's been kind of hot today.
Oh, good. I'm
Oh,
gonna
it's
take some
sweating.
clumps of grass and start rubbing them down.
And he kind of shakes everywhere and sprays everybody with water. And where have y'all been? It's been
In
scary.
water.
Mhm.
All right. So I say, okay, now that we've all, been acquainted and reunited, what do you say about pitching a Liamon's tiny hut and trying a real long rest this time?
Should we do that here, or should we try to get off the island?
I think we need. I think we need
I think the island's a perfect place for a rest after we killed that bitch.
Plus, these people need some time to adjust sunlight. It's going to take a little while for them.
Yeah, they could hang out. And is there any food for them? Not on us, but
do you guys have rations and things like that?
Yeah.
I've got 8 rations. I'll give them all 8 of those rations.
So imagine you are you guys taking a long rest? Is that what you guys wanting to do?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So I imagine all of you kind of settle down on top of the island.
In the hut, I'm gonna cast Lumen's tiny hut.
Can you build a fire in the hut?
You don't need to because it's comfortable and dry.
Oh, I was just going to ask you how you're going to cook food.
We'll cook food outside the hut.
Yeah.
But also, I'm gonna start pasting some flyers.
As I understand, rations don't need to be cooked, do they?
No.
It depends on what they are, really, but probably not. I'm just I'm asking what you're doing. This is just role play. Role play out.
I'm gonna spend an hour to try to attune with the Crown of the Deep.
Okay.
I'm sleeping with the horses. I'm ignoring the tiny hut.
So I imagine Vale sits down and begins to ritually cast his tiny hut, and the dome appears around him. The horses are somewhere to the side, probably in the, little corner over here where it's safe.
As I'm about to relax, I open up the portable hole and I command the zombies to march in. And as the first zombie marches in, I stick my dagger at the base of its skull and render him dead again. And then as the skeleton moves in, he does the same and just pushes him into the hole.
Okay.
Folds it up.
Send those two back into the hole.
God damn, dude.
I'm gonna post some flyers, because at this point it might as well be our calling card.
Isn't that how they found us last time?
At this point, I'm worried we're going to get Mitchell killed.
I'm sure he can handle himself. He wanted me to post these flyers.
He literally told her to, so.
I know. I'm just... do what you need to do. I'm just worried we're going to get him killed, that's all.
Put it on this shrine over here.
After a few drinks, I'll happily pay some with her.
Okay. So Eloise and Liam set in with the paste, the brushes, and the flyers and begin pasting them all over the ruins on the island. About how long are you spending? Because Apollyon sat down for an hour to begin attuning himself to the crown. Tomas, the moment he is away from everybody, he sits down a little ways from the fire and begins writing in his book. He just sits down, the book appears on his lap, and you don't see him looking up for the next hour. He's just writing everything he can.
Blood's doing that as well.
I would assume I'd help her for about a half hour.
Okay. Go ahead and roll... Oh, I don't know. Eloise, go ahead and roll 6d10.
Oof. Plaster their monument with them. Ooh, perfect, right down the middle.
30.
Okay. So total, you guys were able to, together, over the course of 30 minutes, were able to plaster 120 flyers.
Damn.
Wow. So whatever you rolled, I was going to multiply that by 4.
How many do you have left to...
Probably like 300.
I have 355 left.
And they are everywhere. They're on the ruined wall, all around the obelisk, on every surface she can find, a few under the broken and ruined tables. She starts plastering them on the desk in the mostly fit room, and the thing just breaks and falls down.
I should note that the Golden Tongue said if it was found out we got involved again, that he was coming straight for us.
Oh, I can't wait to meet up with that motherfucker again.
I'm just saying, we got to really think about our calling cards. This is
Well, it could have been anyone posting these flyers.
Yeah, everybody loves Mitchell's magical machinations.
oh Lord.
Maybe it was Mitchell who came here himself. Single-handedly.
Perhaps this time we set a trap for him. Last time he set a trap for us.
I guess we're gonna do watches during the long rest.
So the first couple watches, I'm going to pull out that spell book and see if I can try to decipher it.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. So, while Eloise and Liam have been doing this, Veil, after creating his tiny hut, sits down and begins to work on the computations that he found in that the book of the magic spells. Go ahead, Veil, and make an Arcana check.
Okay. That is a 27.
Shit.
God damn. You spend your hour while Apollyon is doing his attunement. Actually, he gets done a little bit before you, but the first spell in the spell book you realize is a spell called Unseen Servant.
Ooh.
The second spell, which you begin working out, and you because you have a 27, I'm giving you 2. You're looking through the second spell as that first hour nears its completion, and you realize you've seen the spell before. It's Gust of Wind.
Gust of Wind.
You're kind of flipping through, and there is one more spell in the spell book. It'll probably take you another hour to work on. Apollyon.
Okay, I'll
Go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say with my next. I mean, I could do that later. As I'm, the first couple watches, I'm gonna be up anyway.
Sure.
Before I take my rest, so I'll do that later if you want me to roll later.
Yeah, we'll settle that in a second. Apollyon, you've been sitting down near your fire, focusing on the crown of the deep that sits upon your head. And over the course of an hour, very easily, it takes a little bit. You're focusing, and you feel it. You feel that connection. You feel that you and the crown are now one.
Yes. Speak to me, sea creatures.
Blood, what have you been doing during all this time?
He'll do the headband of intellect.
Okay. You sit there and you spend your time attuning to the headband of intellect. Let me get that off Apollyon's sheet real quick.
I put one on mine.
Did
already,
you?
so
Okay, it's already on there. Perfect.
Yeah, and it automatically attunes.
So I took that off Apollyon's sheet for him. Go ahead and make a perception check as you're finishing attuning to it, and you feel that click, that your mind expands.
Me do a perception?
Yeah, make a perception check. Or whatever, yeah.
It would be, I guess investigation would be...
Yeah, actually it would be investigation, because it would be intelligence.
30! Crit, baby!
You glance over, and you notice Apollyon sitting there.
Oh, shit.
But when you look, it's not Apollyon that's sitting over there. It's this horrible mutated form, a twisted and distorted version of a minotaur with face just oozing, and almost as though like acid had been thrown over his entire body. And you just cry out in shock. The vision of it just terrifies you to your soul, and you scream out loud and just jump to your feet as you see this.
What the fuck? Apollyon,
What's up, buddy?
how are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling great. The seas
Uh,
are at my command.
And you hear the words, but the voice is not Apollyon. It's deeper, more guttural. It's and it sounds. It makes your ears just hurt a little bit.
buddy.
And everyone can see this now. Everyone now looking at a blood from a stone, just jumping up and staring at it and yelling at Apollyon. You can all see the same thing. This just grotesque version of a minotaur sitting there in front of you.
God damn it.
And this is a great place to take our break.
Fuck.
So we will be right back, everybody, and we'll find out what happened to Apollyon. Now, if you like what you saw here and you're enjoying our series, please follow us here on Twitch. You can check us out on YouTube as well. Our links are below in the information. And you can follow us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV and on Twitch as Random_Rhapsody. Or not Twitch, on Twitter as Random_Rhapsody. So while we're gone, go check out those sites, follow us and whatnot, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned. Howdy, everybody. We are back with the Faab Five campaign, where Apollyon has just mutated into this Lovecraftian horror version of himself. Mutated and twisted, kind of like Sloth from the Goonies. As everybody's staring at him now, you all begin to realize with a very sinking suspicion in your chest that the crown was indeed cursed. So Apollyon...
I see them all looking at me weird. And I go, what's wrong with you, jabronis?
Vale says, I like the new look.
So, as long as the curse is affecting you, Apollyon, your creature type is now an aberration. Your appearance changes and distorts into a horrendous version of yourself, and it changes quite often. It's a little bit gibbering moundish. We're going full Lovecraftian horror here with this. Unfortunately, you are also going to be making all of your wisdom saving throws with disadvantage. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I didn't have much wisdom anyway.
This is true.
Else I probably would not have put this crown on.
But yeah, you can take the crown off, and you do try taking it off. Unfortunately, the effect still remains there. While not wearing the crown, you do not have access to the powers, but if you take it off, you are still affected by the curse.
Nope, I'll leave it on.
I assume you probably spend a little time playing around with it, so I don't mind explaining a little bit about what's going on here. The poor people from the lake who has been kind of keeping themselves huddled together to stay warm see this, but they don't seem to be reacting much. It's almost as if they're so exhausted they're just taking everything in stride. Tomas, however, is just actually looks up from his book and see this and does his jump. What the fuck? God damn it! Is that Apollyon?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a new him. Leave him alone, man.
I like shrug.
Tomas gets up and takes his book and gets on the other side of the fire, and he sits back down and he's just like, this has been one long fucking job. And he sits back down and starts writing in his book again.
I believe I'm just going to pass the F out.
That's fair. Does anybody want to do anything? I know, Vale, you want to do your spells. During that time, while he's settling in and probably beginning his first watch, is anybody wanting to do anything else before they go to bed?
No, I'm out.
Are you guys setting up a watch before you go to bed, or is everyone just passing out?
We'll do a
Well,
watch.
Vale said he was going to take the first few watches.
Mm-hmm. And who's going after Vale?
I'll take last watch.
I'll go after Vale.
I will say you do all notice that you are pretty much to the point of exhaustion. It's been well over 24 hours since you guys went to bed, so you're all feeling the effects of exhaustion, but since you are taking this long rest, it's not going to really affect too much. Anyway, Vale sits in for his first 2 watches. Everyone lays down. Actually, before you do that, as everyone's kind of getting ready to lay down, Tomas, who's been sitting there writing, his legs crossed, the book on his lap, and writing all that time. As everybody's getting ready for bed, he does stand up, and he looks around and he says, "How tired are you all? I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what we saw underneath there, but if everyone needs an evening rest first, that's fine too."
We can talk a bit.
I'm all ears.
I'm still going to sleep first.
Apollyon's got like 7 or 8 ears.
I'm also snoring.
Oh God, I don't even want to know what that sounds like.
Oh, I'm sure it sounds horrible. I'm really fucking upset that Lovecraft Country was not renewed for 2nd season. I really love that style of horror. It was great. So that's kind of where my mind is when I envision Apollyon right now. Anyway, so the rest of you, Vale, who's sitting there working on the book, go ahead and make your Arcana check. By the way,
That's 21.
so Tomas stretches, gets the kinks out before sitting down at the fire, and he says, "So I've been thinking about everything we saw down there, and everything that thing said in my mind." And he repeats everything that the Dream Witness had said in his mind, which pretty much echoes what it said in yours. You all kind of realized that you had all heard what they were saying to everybody during that time. He says, "I was hoping we could talk a little bit about this before I write my final report about the expedition, and get your insights, that sort of thing. First, about the question that is just sitting on my mind this entire time. Do we think that thing down there was the Dream Witness? That giant eyeballed thing that we killed?"
I wouldn't doubt that it was. I would definitely think it was the Dream Witness. The way it controlled our thoughts, not controlled, but went into our heads, and the way it just spoke and with its last dying breath gave that vision. I have no doubt in my mind that was the Dream Witness.
Well, since you bring up that vision that he gave us, what was that thing that we saw destroying that tree? Which I assume was the dreaming tree, right? That has to be what it was representing.
That's what I was
why
saying.
was it destroying the tree?
What's that?
Why was it destroying the tree? Is another question. I mean, was that a positive creature to be attacking in the dream tree?
So Vale's gonna think through his memory and of all the books he's ever read and all the pictures he has ever seen. Can he recall seeing anything like that, coming across anything like that in the books he's read?
Make a history check.
Same thing for blood, just being out in the
That's a
Federation
10.
of the Wastes. 20 for blood if it's a creature from the Federation of the Wastes.
So, Vale, you have never read anything about a creature that big, that massive. It
Yep.
sort of looked dinosaurish to you, but you've read about a dinosaur, dragonish, but you've read about dragons during your time, and they've all been described as a certain size, and that thing was 3, maybe 4 times bigger than any dragon you've ever seen. And it didn't have wings. It lumbered on 2 legs, not 4s. So it definitely wasn't a dragon, but you've never read anything that described something like that. Blood from a stone. It does, now that you're thinking about it, it does pique up a little bit of something in your mind. There had been very old stories from your childhood in the Tabaxi tribes of a massive creature that slumbered, and that the Tabaxi had been said to observe or possibly care for. Somewhere out there in the wastes, at the very beginning of Tabaxi culture, there are myths and legends about a gigantic monstrosity that your people knew about. And you had a name for it. Do you remember what that name was?
Is it a Tarask?
That was a name that was said. Or that was a name that was said in the tellings of these stories. I imagine your elders sitting around a fire, telling these ancient stories of your people, and how you were driven from your homeland by the elves. And there was that connection to this massive monstrosity, that its description and its name you're now thinking of.
And you said this is something that they watched over it and maybe tended to it as it slumbered?
There's a lot of different views on it.
Different legends. Yeah.
Some legends said that they observed it. Others said they watched over as it slumbered. Others said they defended and lived with it, or was a society on or above it. There are so many different stories and different tellings of it that it really depended on who the Tabaxi hero was, what the ancient people were doing at the time. It always was intermingled with different stories.
I guess he'll start relaying some of that. It's like, I remember learning from my father about ancient stories, thousands of years old, about a very, very large creature called a Tarask. It would slumber for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. I mean, our people, we were said to have watched over this creature in some of those myths, and some of them, it was a big, terrible thing that we just looked from a distance to make sure it didn't wake up. I mean, but there were some that we almost lived in harmony with the creature. Like I said, they're ancient stories that we can't really prove if they're real or not. But that's the only description. I mean, the scales on its back, the jagged teeth. I mean, it fits the old legends. And didn't she say that the Dreamer tree? I mean, didn't we know it was thousands upon thousands of years ago that thing was last seen, right? At least does the legend say?
Tomas speaks up and he says, well, they say that the Dreaming Tree was destroyed somewhere around 10,000 years ago. And
It's possible.
Some say the legendary heroes defended the tree.
Defended the tree, though.
Others say that they led the war against the tree.
Well, if we go off that vision we saw, it looked like that creature attacked the tree, and then those heroes, didn't it seem like they ran in to the tree after the hole was torn open by that creature?
So are you saying that the heroes used the thing to get in the tree?
I mean, that's what it kind of looked like. I mean, maybe, I don't know if it was that creature was on the side of the heroes and the people of Loroupa. It's possible, or they might have just used it as a distraction. I mean, we really need more information. I mean, I would love to say I could go home and talk to the village elders, but I am not welcome at home.
Tomas kind of strokes his chin and he says, the only things they ever said about the Age of Calamity after the destruction of the Dreaming Tree was that it was an age of absolute chaos, that great monsters fought across the land and everything above the surface was destroyed. All of the races were said to have gone down beneath the surface, and not all of them came back. And he kind of nods over to Vale, who's sitting there reading his book. And about this time, Vale, you just shout, Eureka! And realize that the last spell in your spell book that you have there is the sending spell.
Wow, wish. That's sick.
Oh, that's a nice one there. You tried for that.
That was absolutely adorable.
But getting back to that, I mean, some of those legends did say that Tabaxi villages were built like above, and some of them said underneath with that creature. So it's possible it's still out there somewhere, or maybe it, I don't know, maybe it has some weird birth cycle. It lays an egg, and that egg matures for 1,000 years. I don't know animals. That's not my thing, but it could be that it's out there somewhere.
I wouldn't want to find it.
Well, I mean, we might actually want to find it. I mean, if that vision is anything of correct, if we are believing the versions of history that we think are occurring, we might need that creature to help us take down this tree. If they are trying to regrow that tree, I mean, I don't know how long it'll take. I don't know if it's something that they do a magic ceremony and the tree just sprouts, or if it takes years to grow. But we might need that creature.
So, how do you think it was convinced or otherwise to attack the tree?
Maybe there were natural enemies or maybe the tree was so unnatural that thing was protecting Loroupa. We don't. I mean, there's nothing left.
So I guess what we would have to do is somehow get, if we ever came to the situation, get it in front of the tree, that creature in front of the tree, with minimal interference, because that thing could easily turn on us and swallow us in one bite.
It could destroy all of Loroupa. Every city would be. Nothing could. I don't think we'd be able to take it down.
Yeah.
We are very far off from being able to tame or convince a creature to help us. We don't even know if it exists anymore. We don't even know if that vision was completely real. I mean, it could have been a fabrication just to mess with us.
I'm sorry, if something like that existed, we would know about it.
Well, I mean, how much information has survived? How much written language and written word has survived from that time?
Not much. Not much at all. That's part of the reason why the Conclave sent out an expedition into Pest Wergar, because they had found an ancient keep that they hoped had some information from that age. But pretty much nothing exists from the time that all of the races went underground. I mean, and definitely almost nothing of the time before then. We have archaeologists who study this stuff, and that's how we know what we know today.
Our stories are passed down from elder to child, and then the child grows up, becomes the elder, and passes it down to the next generation. So everything we have is from one to the next.
So if this is really that old, if this creature slumbers for, you said, thousands of years possibly, correct?
That's the legend.
And this has been thousands of years. It may be due for an emergence.
Perhaps. I don't even know. I didn't believe too many of those stories as a child. I mean, they're fascinating. But when I grew up, I started, I just saw those as kind of children's tales. So I don't know. I mean, what about those silhouetted here? I mean, it focused. We couldn't see what they looked like, but it did focus on like their weapons stood out. Why would that have been? Why? Unless they are some kind of special magical items somewhere in the world.
I mean, every culture has its own stories about legendary weapons and things of that nature.
But even like, why did that vision focus on the weapon and not give us any information on the things holding the weapons?
Maybe that's
Feel like
what
they shined bright in the darkness.
maybe that's what the creature focused on. Maybe it was something to draw its attention.
Here's a question. Are we 100% sure that that was a vision of the past and not the future?
Oh, God damn it. I shudder to think if that was a vision of the future.
Well, I mean, we know there isn't a tree now, and we know there isn't a city. I mean, and he kind of turns to the south and points and says, "There's the Umbra Spire right there, and that's where they say the tree had grown."
Yeah, I woke up looking at that fucking mountain every day of my life. There's ruins, but that city ain't there. And there's certainly no tree.
This thing was said to be the witness to the thing's destruction. Perhaps the dream witness literally saw the destruction of the dreaming tree.
So maybe the vision we actually saw was its memory. Is that what you're saying?
Makes the most sense
witness
to me.
to the dreamer coming here, and then it
witnessed the tree's destruction. And
Too bad we couldn't ask it.
And it presumably spent its time creating this cult that we're now around. I've been thinking about what they've been doing for a little while. Can anyone tell me if they've thought about why they're bringing these people here?
I've thought about it, but I have no answers.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is this thing was able to influence our minds. And those letters, or from the information we got from, I guess, was it Sigmund? It said when people went to the island, they left changed. Or maybe that was Golden Tongue. It's all kind of flowing together at this point. But we had information say is like when things went to the Dream Witness, they left change.
That makes sense. I mean, you all fought that Lamia up there, and what did it do to you, Liam? It tried to possess your mind.
He's sleeping.
People, oh yeah, that's right, he's sleeping. And he looks over and sees Liam snoring over there, and he picks up a rock and throws it at his head. Liam!
Take 3 damage.
Select missiles, I catch it.
It's just snoring. His hand jumps out, grabs the rock, and he drops his arm, and he's snoring still. He's fucking.
I was actually kind of hoping these people would remember who they are.
Yeah, me too, to be honest. But we know that they're going to a Lamia and being softened up mentally by a Lamia, and then sent here. And think about those places they went. All the ritual of going to these areas and being led around and opening these areas to get down to the thing. And then what did it do to you, Veil, when that thing looked at you and tried to ensnare your mind again?
It did. And the second time it looked at me, I don't remember what happened. I was almost disintegrated.
Now imagine your mind's already enthralled by a Lamia, and then it's sent to that thing to take it over completely.
Oh.
It's no wonder they have so many people in so many places.
Interesting. So I'm sure there's more, either
there-
lamias or more situations that like we saw.
Well, the Federation is full of strange creatures. I am sure there are more of them out there.
Well, but here's
I
the
mean,
thing.
more along.
Yeah,
At the very least, the Dream Witness is dead. We've taken a step out of their chain.
hopefully they can't make more.
As
Just
long,
got to convince them the old-fashioned way.
as long as that was the only one of those.
True.
Tomas shudders at that thought.
Well, I can't imagine there are other 10,000-year-old ancient beasts like that floating around.
Nobody noticed. Yeah, okay. Let's hope so. And he's just kind of shudders again. Then he says, "And when the Dream Witness answered me, she said that the roots were a link between this moment and when they were a whole. Veil, you know magic. Do you know what the hell she meant by that?"
The only thing I could think of is it's somehow, I don't know if you mean by link as in knowledge or link as in actual physical link that could bring you back to when it was a whole. I'm not sure. Let me could I do an Arcana check to kind of figure out what else you would mean?
You can.
That is a 25.
So there are philosophies in magic that you would understand. A piece of a thing has a connection to the whole of a thing. You pluck a feather out of a bird, and there's still a connection from that feather to that animal, and that connection provides power to magical spells. It's the harnessing of these natural connections in nature that allows an arcane weaver to create their moments of magic and cast their spells. So that's the first thing that comes to your mind as you're thinking of that. So if there's a connection between a feather plucked from a chicken and a thing original, the thing that comes to your mind is, could an ancient piece of a tree have a connection to the tree itself? And how could it do so when one is existing now and one obviously was destroyed thousands of years ago? But with your 25 Arcana, there is a possibility, you realize.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something worth pursuing, but your focus has always been necromancy. You understand the reanimation of dead. You don't understand the mystical forces of the world. That's a little bit beyond your area of expertise. But you have a seed. You know what you're looking for.
All right.
Because you rolled really fucking high.
Is that a tree frog?
What's that?
I think I hear a tree frog. Do you have like a window open?
Oh yeah, I do have my window is a little bit open. I got frogs in the background. They're loud
Yeah,
as
I hear a
fuck.
little tree frog. No, it sounds good. It's actually like perfect for the situation. Like it's cool ambiance in the background.
Yeah, I suppose so, because you guys are now on the land, on the island. So yeah, you'd probably be hearing exactly that. I should find some good camping music while we're talking. The next thing that Tomas is going to say. Let's see. He had one more. What about the vision of the book? I've never seen either of those locations or the big guy that we had seen. Does anybody recognize any of that?
No, I was gonna ask you the same thing if you recognized that book at all. Do you know if that book has been the book I've been looking for, or because I don't know exactly what the tome is, but I believe your conclave did know. They said it was once in the possession of the conclave we were at, but it's since moved. And I was hoping maybe you would have some insight as to if that was the book I've been looking for.
Well, Tomas, I'm going to allow him to make a check himself.
I think they said it hadn't been seen
Unfortunately,
in like 75 to 100 years.
yeah, he doesn't have. He has a 0 in Arcana, so I'm going to let him roll a history check.
So I think that was one of the research topics.
Oh, that
Blood
should
did,
not have been an advantage.
was on the tomes.
So yeah,
wasn't
it
helping
was.
him?
Yeah, so that was a 12 that he rolled, because that should not have been an advantage. He said, honestly, I've heard of the book you've talked about, but I'm not. That's not my area of expertise. I have to admit.
Yeah, that's fair.
It
Now, as
didn't-
far as the location goes,
I've personally never been to any place that looked like that. It honestly looked deserty to me. We saw a gladiator arena, and the biggest gladiator arena I know of is in Rowena. But Blood, you're from the Federation. Did it look like that?
If we are seeing the gladiator arena in the desert areas, then there is only one probable place where it could be, and that is in the Zahayim's, probably in his private library. And you don't just get in to see him. Or her.
can you roll a check to know if that's the actual place?
Yeah, I can do that. It'd be what, a history check?
It would be a history check. But I'm honestly, you've been there before. You lived in
I
Rowena,
have.
Blood.
23. So it is. So he would recognize it.
You would
As
recognize it. You would you were from you lived in
Yeah.
Rowena. You
Oh, yeah, for a few
recognize the Colosseum. You recognize the Zahim's palace.
I mean, it appears to be that it would be the Zahim's palace if that's what it. I mean that was definitely the Colosseum there. That's really the biggest and largest one around. I mean, and he'll just pull out that flyer and he goes, "We happen to have an invitation to go there."
So while the vision of the book is still fresh in my mind, I'd like to pull out a piece of parchment and some charcoal and some ink and sketch exactly what I saw just on a piece of paper, just so I know,
Yeah.
Okay.
before it gets faded, and then in my mind, and then I'll be able to ask people if they've seen or if they know anything about it.
Okay.
You've got your little wrist.
You
Sure.
do have your wrist journal if that's what you want to use, but you can use whatever you want. Either way, go ahead and make a performance check.
Actually,
Performance.
I want to do one of those too, just because say Blood's been doing the same thing that Tomas has been doing.
Oh, very
That's
nice.
a 20.
13 for Blood.
So, Vale, you very, very accurately draw the book that you had seen. While it was plain and nondescript, it is something that is etched in your mind, and you will easily recognize it.
I figured if I went as far as to walk right up willingly to this, what I thought was the Dream Witness, because he was so maddened at the thought of getting his hands on this book, he put himself in immediate danger away from the entire party. I figured this burned a pretty good good vision in his head.
Definitely. And the thing you do know is the fact that it was in a treasury, a very large treasury, and it was floating there above a pedestal in the middle of weapons and armor and pieces of art. And you didn't see a lot of it. Your vision was kind of blurry, but you could recognize that there was a lot of valuable things near this book.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to the value.
Well, if that is, trust me, if that is where I think it is, you have no idea how tempted. He's just gonna hold up his hands, kind of wave them. How tempted I am to try and get in there. We're gonna need a lot of work if we're gonna do that. Now, if Apollyon can win this, and he's holding up the flyer for the gladiator tournament, he goes, "We do get to. You're invited to an audience in front of the Zaham." And I believe wasn't the prize like a favor from the Zaham, or you get to ask him for one thing? Wasn't that what it was?
That's what it says on. Yeah, you have the
Yeah.
flyer.
Yeah.
He will grant you one request.
Now, it would be Apollyon if he won. It would be his request, but I mean, that would maybe get us inside the building.
Vale's eyebrows, kind of narrow, and he's got a furrow in his brow, and his forehead scrunches up a bit. And you said, yes, if Apollyon wins, he can get a favor.
Well, if you
But if
win,
Vale wins,
well, are you willing to go up against Groverjaw? Are you willing to go up against Apollyon?
If I can interject here, Tomas says, we know that the Zaim also has a dream root. And it's my supposition that your friend Groverjar is fighting in that tournament for that exact thing.
I mean, that's what Golden Tongue almost. It's
yeah, you're right.
He pretty much said it.
And that was the original plan. If we did go to the tournament, we would request the dream route as opposed to.
I think that route's more important than your book.
So I disagree. However, if we're in the same area, I don't see why we couldn't use our expertise. And I look at your hands and your thieves' tools, and say to get whatever either or I mean both for the party.
You are seriously gonna get me killed playing to my vanity, sir. Trust me, you have no idea how many thieves like myself have dreamed about getting into that man's vault. But
as Blood is saying that, Eloise is gonna roll over in her sleep and her tail's gonna whack him.
Hey, why me?
Because you're right beside her.
You are right beside her. She's been snoring next to you this entire time.
Oh, I thought you were doing it out of
No, she's asleep. She's completely 100% asleep.
But her tail isn't.
Her tail wasn't.
He'll pat the tail and he'll maybe put it up under her blanket or something like that and just kind of keep it away from him. Every thief that is tried has disappeared.
Every thief that is tried is not blood from a stone.
All right, like I said, I mean, one, yes, I can only get so aroused by thinking of that treasure, but it.
He says as he crosses his legs.
We got a lot to go before we get to that point. Now, if we are gonna make a run for that treasure, it's work.
We should probably do it while everyone's at the tournament.
I thought of that.
Tomas has been kind of going his head back and forth between the two of you, and he just kind of, you hear him chuckle. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of things in that vault that the Conclave would love to get their hands on. Now, as as people who work with the government, we could never officially condone something. However, the Margarden Federation has never allowed the Conclave to have a building there.
Yeah, I know.
We've tried. We've worked with them, and we do have a bit of a relationship, but they've never allowed us to have an actual building there and to research beyond sending people.
Because they like to keep those things to themselves.
Are you suggesting during the tournament we murder this guy,
No.
and then the conclave could take
No.
take over.
And his eyes go wide, and he's like,
No.
no. That's not
Oh,
what
of
I'm
course, that's
saying.
not what
For
you're
one-
suggesting.
I mean,
Of
for
course not.
one, you can't really murder the Zahayim. I mean, you can kill the person with the title, but it's a title. It's not a person.
How was the title earned?
I mean, it's probably passed family to family, but
It's
if
hereditary.
you kill
It's
it,
usually father to son, but
if you want to keep killing it, remember, they're just going to find. I mean, they might
No,
have
no, I
quarrel
was just
over it.
curious. Now, does this Zahim have a son?
so here's the thing.
We don't know
We
who the Zahayim is.
we suspect that the Zaim in public is the leader of the Cerulean Syndicate in private. And if you eliminate one, the next one just steps into his place. And then there's another Zaim. It's probably the same Zaim, but you never really know.
Think of it as the worst held secret in the world.
Hmm.
And yet
But
it's always the Zaim is always the Zaim. He always looks the same. It very rarely changes, other than younger, grows older, then the next Zaim steps into the picture. No one's ever seen the prince, and no one ever will until his father dies.
And my guess is, if we win this tournament and someone gets to see an audience, I don't even know if you're actually going to see the real Zahim.
But you get a request.
Here's something why maybe we can get access to it and get more than something. Who knows? This is just me spitballing and being a wild hair on my ass. What if Sigmund is not acting with authority of the Syndicate? What if he's doing all of his stuff as a private citizen, being a part of the Dreamer Army? What if he is corrupting other Syndicate members? If we can help purge crazy-ass Dreamer cultists from the Syndicate ranks, it's a pipe dream. I have no idea if they would even be appreciative.
So you're suggesting once you get an audience, you out Sigmund and...
Oh, well, we can out Sigmund long before that. Or we can just slit his throat. Either fine with me. But he is well known. I mean, hell, I didn't even have anything to do with him, and I knew who he was. Who knows how many other powerful members they have that are dreamers? Just like I said, I hope to God that the Syndicate is not in bed with them, and it is just some of their members are. Because then we're in real trouble.
I suppose we have more questions than answers.
Yes,
Well-
thanks for the can of worms that we just opened.
You opened that can of worms when you started helping Weston, I suppose.
Fucking hell.
Oh yeah,
I just found you
Weston.
along the way.
almost forgot about that place.
Well, it was not far.
Well, at the very least, we need to get back to the Conclave and make our report on our findings. The cult
Well, at
is
the
a
very
threat.
least, I think
Go ahead.
the first order of business is healing Liam.
We could probably do a few of these things at the same time. Get rid of these people. Get them somewhere safe. And get Liam healed.
I was going to say, very poor choice of words.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Tomas kind of glances back at the building where all the people are sleeping. What are we going to do with them?
I have no idea. We can't just leave them here. They'll be slaughtered.
So,
Or they'll just be recaptured amongst the... I mean, they're surely to die if we leave them here.
we could always put them in the
Oh,
the cart.
okay.
And I know they won't fit sitting there. However, out of game, Matt, if I were to put the portable hole, open it up and put it in the cart, draped on the floor, could they go in the hole while it's opened and breathe because it's still open in the top, or how would you rule that?
So here's my question. What are you affixing the portable hole to on the cart?
So I would be draping it across the floor of the cart.
How big is a carriage? You have a carriage. How big is that?
Yeah,
Google
I would
that
say
for
it's
me.
at least 5. Okay.
Google it. Yeah,
carriage.
Google it and just look to see what the dimensions of a carriage are.
Now,
And
like,
see
are you
if-
talking about any carriage or a carriage in 5e?
a carriage in 5e, preferably, if you can find
Okay,
that.
well, let me see.
Could we
I
also
always,
somehow secure to the side?
well, it depends on what, I don't know what a carriage dimensions are. I imagine they aren't that big, but maybe.
I mean, even if we were able to maybe secure it on the top and kind of secure it on the sides, it could just hang down below the bottom of the carriage, as long as it
Well,
doesn't get caught.
it has to be affixed to something.
Well, that's what I say. We
recently
could
realized.
fix it on the top, fix it on the sides, and fix it on the bottom. Even if it extends on the bottom below the bottom of the cart.
According to Reddit, standard carriage is 5 to 10 feet wide and 10 to 15 feet long, not counting the horses.
That'd be perfect.
So I suppose theoretically you could affix it to the side of the thing, and it's 10 feet back, so they could theoretically sit back there. It would just be a wide open hole on the side of a carriage that these people are sitting on, but...
No, I was thinking of on the floor of the carriage inside.
Yeah.
Well, how wide did you say it was, Eloise?
6 feet.
Yeah, according to Reddit, it says 5 to 10 feet wide. However, according to D&D Beyond, a wagon is 8 feet long and 3 to 4 feet wide.
So it's probably a little bigger than that. But here's the thing. A portable hole has a radius of 6 feet.
So it's 12 feet wide.
It is 12 feet
No.
wide.
It's a radius of.
Oh, it has a radius. No, it doesn't have a radius of 6.
You sure?
I think it's.
It's a diameter of 6. I believe. I'm pretty sure it's a diameter of 6.
Hold on, pulling it up now.
It is 6 feet in diameter.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't. I would say so. If I put it on, on the floor of the cart, they could get in and be in that hole. And as long as I don't fold it up, I would assume oxygen would be freely flowing in and out.
We're discussing what we're going to do after we sleep and after the island, and we're still on the island and we haven't slept yet.
I mean, you're asleep.
You're right.
So, I mean, this is wibbly wobbly, timey wimey at this point.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? I'll allow it.
Okay.
I'll allow it for.
Oh my god.
Says Apollyon.
Remind me to mute Koines.
Yeah, that's
real
horrifying.
quick.
So I mean, at the end of the day, I would prefer these people to be dead in my portable hole, so it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, if we could, if you want to fold it, keep it nice and open, and they'll be able to live, and we'll just drop them off the next time we go to Bradfordshire or whatever.
So, and that's kind of the next question Tomas was going to ask is where you guys want to go next. How are you planning on getting there?
Oh.
Now, I'm going to remind you that the cart, the carriage that you bought, is on the southern side of the lake.
Go get
We have to go north.
So I'm gonna pop that up for you real quick. Hold on.
Well, we could go get the cart and then travel around the lake to the north side.
Yeah, that works.
So I just popped this up for you.
Okay.
So if you look there, down by the shore of the lake on the south side, that's where you left your cart. And you're between where the river hits the lake and so on. You guys are trying to get to that village there in the upper northeast corner. So there is a decent-sized mountain range, and you can see it. It is daytime, and you can look around and see it. And I've showed you similar pictures before, but here's another one that looks nice that you can look at. I've always envisioned these kind of like the Scottish Highlands.
Okay.
Can we see if there's a path right now from where we are going to the mountain?
You don't see any path from where you are, but you're like a few miles in the middle of a giant lake, so you can see big mountains. But going back to the previous map, the trip map that I showed you,
So we're on the west side of the lake, but on the south side of the river.
You are in the middle of the lake in an island.
Yeah, no, I meant like our cart, like where we left them.
Yeah, the cart is in the southwestern side of the lake.
Red X.
Where the red X is, go up at an angle towards the shore, and that's where the cart is, right around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had walked into the middle of the lake, and that's where you currently are. So you'll have to go back down there to get your cart.
But it's on the south side of the river, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's on the south side of the river. So my question to you guys is, where are you wanting to go, and how are you wanting to get there?
So what I would suggest is either A, go back to the cart, and then I don't think we could ford the river there. I would say take the long way around to the southeast, around back up to the mountains towards Bradfordshire, or we leave the initiates and continue straight to Bradfordshire and leave the cart as well. So those are my two. Those are the two options. I would prefer to keep the cart because I don't want to walk. Because Vale doesn't want to walk.
I mean, we are kind of responsible for these people.
Are we though?
We saved their lives. I mean, if we didn't kill the Dream Witness, they'd still be enthralled, and they wouldn't just be meek waiting to die.
Tomas looks up at this and says, I feel kind of responsible for these people, too. We can't just leave them to die. But at the same time, loading them in a carriage and trying to take them over the mountains?
Not to mention the food we'll have to spend on, give to them. Unless Eloise has good berries.
Eloise is asleep. But you can mention it to her in the morning and she'll make sure to prepare it.
Remember Chewbacca? I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that's
All right,
probably...
so how about this?
Okay, go
Why
ahead.
don't we'll take a rest, and we'll all discuss when everyone's awake what our next plan is going to be.
I was about to say the exact same thing. So yeah, and you all can get a long rest, and I'm just going to go ahead and pass you by that there is nothing that happens that evening.
Okay.
Well,
I need to roll for Wand of Magic Missile.
Go ahead.
just because during his watch, he's going to probably take third watch. He does want to start practicing with the forgery kit that he's had this whole time.
Go ahead and what do you think a roll would be for that?
Would that be like a? I mean, I won't say sleight of hand just because that's obnoxious. Would that be like a dex check just to?
Yeah,
see
why
if
not?
he can,
You know what? Make it a performance check. I think that would be good.
It's only a +2. Yeah, it's a 8.
I mean, you're starting to play around with it, and you're messing around with the inks and that sort of thing. And you're looking at it, and you're like, you get the idea of what everything is, and you start playing with it. But it's definitely your handwriting.
Yeah, man.
Now, before Tomas goes to bed.
That was for the Trident of Fish command.
Okay. Now, before Tomas goes to bed, you do see him sit down on his bedroll, touch a section of his arm, and tap his ear before beginning to whisper himself. If anyone wants to know what it is he's whispering to himself, you can make a perception check. If no one cares, we'll just go for it.
18.
I want to know.
Okay. Well, Apollyon was asleep. Vale, you didn't hear a damn thing. Blood, you did.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still asleep at this point.
Blood, you did, and you hear him say, "Target confirmed and destroyed. Cult pursuant to potentially world-altering event. Full report to follow. Team cooperation more than adequate. Returning to nearest outpost post-haste."
Alright, so he's not going to fuck us. Alright, it seems like he's still on board. Because that's the whole time I'm thinking, oh, he's a goddamn plant. We're fucked.
Should use your question, shouldn't you?
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, that
I
would
mean,
have been a
I
good
already
one.
know that I'm the one you lied to.
That's not true.
I was hoping.
You hope.
I'm hoping
I
it
really
was.
hope the one he lied about was the dream witness dying, affecting the army.
Yeah, well, that would be nice too. Yeah. Well, they just can't make new people. I don't think maybe her dying ought to re-affect or unaffected everybody else like these people. So.
But anyway, you do have a long rest, and everyone does wake up the next morning. The people that you found, still weak, still emaciated, barely able to move for the most part, and struggle most of the time.
Matt, do you need me to roll for the Staff of the Woodlands? I was only down 2 charges, and it's 1d6 plus 4.
I'm fine with you. Yeah,
Okay.
you're up full. You're good.
I figured.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys? What do you want to do as you wake up and you everybody's full rested, like I said. So pick your spells, yada yada yada.
I'm preparing spells. Is someone going to mention Goodberry to me or no?
Yeah, I'm going to mention Goodberry for
Okay.
the travel. It will feed us.
Yeah.
Feed everyone.
I will prepare
if we need
Goodberry.
it.
I mean, I've still got some rations myself.
So I speak with Eloise and I say, Eloise, do you have Sleet Storm prepared? Because if you do, I'm not going to.
Always.
Okay. You know, although a double Sleet Storm would be devastating for the other side.
This is
So
very
we'll have to
true.
think about that in
Sleet
the
Storm is not
future.
one of the ones I need to prepare. Nor is Ice
Ooh.
Storm. I just have those.
Perfect.
She's a snowy girl.
And I'm just gonna shoot some frost out of my fingertips.
And after breakfast, Tomas comes up and says, "Anyway, no matter what, we need to get back to the Conclave and report our findings. This cult is a threat to every nation on the continent, and the nations need to be informed. But I definitely don't think that returning to Laverne is the right way to go. You mentioned Bradfordshire, but that is across the mountains. I do know where Bradfordshire is, and I mean,
Bradfordshire, you say?
That's what they were talking. That's where they were talking about going towards, Liam.
Hey, that's a fine town to go to. Lots of good stuff. Healing capabilities. Fun town. Yeah, good times.
Well, but what I was saying is, there's a mountain range between us, and he's kind of he's looking at you, and he does note the stink eye.
Can I have a -1, but can I do a history check to see if I remember anything about a path through these mountains?
Certainly.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Gollum knows the way through the
Nope, that's a 5.
They're big, beautiful mountains.
So I was gonna say, do I have any Underdark knowledge of a path through the mountain, or have I read anything in books about this specific range? Can I do something like that?
Go ahead and make a history check.
That is a 28. That is a crit.
You know for sure.
I know these mountains very well.
You know, what you know is there are no paths to the Underdark in this area. You don't know of any paths through the Underdark, through the mountains themselves. You have never actually read about these mountains. However, you have read about mountains in general. They are big.
Okay.
You would know that, and you would know that in general, because you rolled a nat 20, I'm giving you something. Yeah. Mountains are big. They're about 4 to 5 miles high, and they could be anywhere from 80 to 200 miles wide. They are traversable, and these are, like I've described them before as the Scottish Highlands. There are places that you can walk, just literally walk, and just go at a steep incline and walk through them. There are other places that you'll have to climb. There are some paths that you'll have to walk and be very careful through. Other places you might have to climb to get past. It is possible to go across the mountains. You're just looking at them. You know that they are ice capped, I showed you the picture.
Yeah.
You know they are ice capped,
But
so it
he
is
probably
cold.
knows with the nat 20 that the odds of getting a cart and horses and these guys through there is very, very slim, is what you're saying.
It's
impossible.
It's pretty much impossible with a cart. It is not as impossible with horses. A group of individuals such as yourself with magical capabilities, just by yourselves, it's very easy.
We're not by ourselves.
But you're not by yourselves. You do have a cart. You do have horses. The degree of difficulty changes based on what you're using to get across these. I'm not saying it's
And
not. I'm not
I'll
saying.
relay that.
And you're saying it is possible, and we could absolutely do that. But taking a cart and taking the horses makes it difficult, and you start to explain cliffs and passes and mountainous regions, and going up elevations become more difficult the higher you get because there's less oxygen and that, and you go on like a professor for probably about a good hour while everyone's eating their meals, and they're getting kind of irritated because you just keep laying on fact after fact about it.
Apollyon chimes in, say, hey Vale, what has roots as nobody sees, is taller than trees. Up it goes, and yet never grows.
And the moment he speaks, everybody screams.
Yeah,
They
it's
forgot
just-
about him for half a second, and then they all look at him and, oh my god!
All right. So, Tomas, do you know of any towns closer? Because, I mean, it seems with what the dead weight we're carrying, and I gesture over to the humanoids. I say, it's going to be unlikely that we're going to be able to make it up here with all these surviving. Is there another town that we can get Liam healed at?
I do believe that Weston.
He does bring out his map, and he lays it down in front of you all, and he says, well, the closest actual village is Bradfordshire. And as you can all see, he points to it on the map, and he points to the lake where you guys are. That's Bradfordshire right there. I imagine it's not more than a 3 or 4 day journey. But we would have to leave the cart. Now, we could travel around the lake here and keep to the north, and it would just take much longer. But it does eventually lead, if we try to stay clear of Laverin, because that in and of itself is a challenge.
What would you say that would make the trek maybe 5 or 6 days instead of 3 or 4?
So just to get to the Crossroads Inn, it will look probably about 7, maybe 8 days.
And I say, as Tomas says the Crossroads Inn, I look at Apollyon and Veil and Blood. I say, the Crossroads Inn, huh?
It's well, maybe he's dead.
I mean, I've never
Let's
been
just say
there.
we've been there.
You've been there before?
Well, to be quite blunt, if we ditch the wagon, then these people are all going to die.
Pretty much.
I'm okay with that.
Everyone
They
just
are
looks
probably
at
awake.
everyone just looks at Vale, and yeah, sure enough, they are out of the hovel, and they're eating their meals as well, and they're all kind of looking at Vale like,
read the room.
What? Are we all about to die? You can see fear in their eyes.
I mean, we can't dump these people at the inn. We have to either make for Weston or Bradfordshire, because that inn was. I mean, it is.
Well, to be fair, Weston owes us a favor, but Bradfordshire has the healing capabilities, and they're a bit closer.
Well,
is Weston the same distance if we were to go to the north the long way?
Well, it's around the mountains. It would probably be about 8 days to the inn, and another 3 days to Weston.
Is it 3 days to Weston or Bradfordshire?
If we were to go from the Crossroads Inn,
Yeah.
He pulls out the map again because
you remember
Matt
that-
just closed it.
Can we
There
not sail
wasn't-
back up the river?
You
If you going to the Crossroads Inn and that back to Bradfordshire, it's actually 5 days from the Crossroads to Bradfordshire, whereas 3 days from the Crossroads to Weston. It's a little bit.
but
shorter
remember
to Weston.
there was a healer in Weston. The druid there.
Yeah.
I think it was a druid, and there was somebody. I mean, he might have other healing magic.
Hey, I remember him getting knocked on his ass.
So they might. I mean, plus they were calling in for reinforcements from Morag. So who knows who might be there? The governor was
I
calling,
don't think-
sending for assistance from the Dwarren king.
Well, as of right now, what is the fastest way that we can go, or where's the closest town we can go with the cart and the
Well, Laverne. We're not going to Laverne.
we're not going to Laverne.
Well, I mean you said the closest place with healing.
Yeah, for Liam, that's going to be our main priority right now. The people are secondary. The people getting them there alive is secondary.
And everybody gasps.
Weston is still
Well,
rebuilt.
I was thinking about this. Maybe, Tomas, are we under the impression that this army is coming in our direction? Can we not set you off with these people and us go north?
How would he transport them?
If we were to lend him the cart and we get it back from him later, we'll both end up in Port Valena eventually.
I don't think we should stray from Tomas.
If I were to take the cart and pack as many people as I can and head towards Weston, I could probably get there maybe 2 days, 3 days after you get to Bradfordshire. If the army is heading to Laverne, we have at least 2 more days before they arrive. At least assuming, or when we think we are.
Boy, I've got a gut feeling that us taking down the Dream Witness didn't affect the army at the least.
Well, I mean, at the very least, I could probably get past Laverne and on the road to Weston by the time the army arrives in Laverne. If I had a cart, I'd probably head straight from there to Port Valena and turn these people over to the Conclave.
Boy, then we'd just be maybe 3 days behind you.
Could you go north to Morag? Would Morag be closer than the port?
About the same distance, to be honest. But at the same time, they know you came from Laverne, and they know they know, or at least they're going to find out we were here. And he kind of looks at all the posters you all plastered. So maybe going somewhere they're not expecting isn't a bad idea.
I mean, if we go to Bradfordshire, we could always keep heading to the northeast and head up into Hyrulean. If we go west, what?
That's my vote. I like that direction.
Where was the Margarden Federation, or where the fight is? What do you call it? The Gladiator.
If you go directly east of Laverne, or sorry, directly west,
And then head south. Yeah, it's over there.
You
So
can
it's in
run
the
into
opposite
Okay.
direction.
Oh, I see Margarden
look-
Federation.
Yeah, if you look under the G, where the G
Yeah,
is
I
in
see.
the garden, goes directly south, and that's
All right. So
Yeah,
when was this event going to take place?
In Rowena. Which
Yeah,
I just
right.
showed you the map to that.
which.
No,
if you could,
when?
when? Wasn't it a month from when we ran
All right.
into?
So we've got time, right?
Well, we got a couple weeks. It's probably been
Yeah.
a week.
Hold on. I'm gonna look at. I I gave you a handout, so hold on a second.
Yeah.
We don't know what the day is.
The tournament's going to be held on the 1st of Mordgraft. We are currently, if we assume that it's the next day, we're on the 6th of Faustgra. So, what that means for you guys is, hold on 1 second.
Did you just take like some of those old magnet alphabet letters and just fucking throw them up in the air for your month names?
I mean, you could have asked that in the yes or no questions.
Why would that? I mean, the month names aren't that important.
So it takes place. Let's see. When did I say it was? Hold on a second.
The 1st of Mordgraft.
Okay, then it's the 6th, so it takes place the 1st of next month.
So like,
All
How
right,
many
so we've
days
got
in this
time.
month?
a little over 3 weeks.
30 days.
Okay, so we have 24 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got time, but if we send Tomas off with the cart, then we can go straight north through these mountains without encumberment of a cart.
Yeah, that will probably be our best bet because our main priority is getting Liam healed. So I think we should send Tomas off with the cart. That'll save us a trip across the lake again, and we could just head straight through, especially now that we have a ranger.
Well, we still have to go across because I've got to cast Water Walk on all of us. I don't have to stay within range for Water Walk, do I?
No, you can just
Okay.
cast it on them. You can all go down to get the cart, set up the cart with the horses. He could take the cart around the lake, and then head off on the north side of the lake and try to stay away from Laverin and hope that he doesn't get spotted by the army.
The only thing is, how are we going to get all of those people across with a Water Walk spell? Because I can only affect so many creatures.
We actually worked this out in the chat. With the number of horses we have here, you can put 2 people on each horse, and if Vale uses his disc, and the DM would allow 4 people to sit on that disc, then we could easily transport all of us across.
I've got an idea.
A horse.
Am I a horse in this scenario?
How about this?
Not necessarily. In my super conservative math about it, we still had 4 extra Water Walk spells, so it should be very possible.
All right, how about we have the initiates put their hats back on, and Apollyon uses his Aquaman ability to go swim underwater, like we tied to the rope, like we brought them up here.
Oh yeah, that'd be easy.
I'm just gonna say they'll probably die from that. They have 4 hit points.
Why don't we have Apollyon swim across again?
It's just not necessary.
Is there any on this island like a boat or anything? Or there's not a
raft out of.
There is not a boat or a raft. You haven't even seen a tree on this island, and you've explored it. But honestly, I think using your horses and Eloise and casting the water walking and making 2 trips, you could easily manage to get everybody across.
On his disc, they couldn't have people? Because it holds up to 500 pounds.
I think it's 3 feet in diameter.
Yeah, I'd say they could probably you could probably get 5 or 6 of them to sit on that thing. And as long as it has to follow Vale, so
Hey. Tomas and I can both run the same speed as the horses, so
we've got rope.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say with your spells and the horses and everything else, you could probably get everybody across in one trip and get to the cart.
We could stack them like cordwood. We've got rope.
Like I legitimately feel bad for these people because they're just being bumped around and casually discussed being killed, and they have no memory of whatsoever of what's going on, and they're really freaked out, but they're also skinny and literally can't put up a fight.
So is he
Yeah.
is he bringing the cart around to meet us in Bradfordshire then? Is that what we're discussing?
Is that what you're asking?
No, he's going straight to Weston. And then he's going to Port Valena, and we're gonna meet him in Port Valena.
You guys suggested heading to Morag, not Valena.
Yeah, Morag, because it's a different location. It's got conclave, and it is not somewhere we keep going back to because they fucking know with all these stickers around.
Yeah, the whole point of us splitting up with him is so we can get through the mountains quicker and get to Bradfordshire.
So
That
we
way
could
you
Yeah,
can
that's
get
what I
your
thought we
heal.
were doing.
we could send him to Morag. Yeah, Weston, then Morag.
Okay.
Where's Morag?
It's north of Weston. Plus,
That's pretty far away from where we need to go for the gladiator battle.
all of the conclave places they told us they have teleportation circles, so they could shoot us to the closest we can get there.
Oh, that's true.
And then we can cut a huge chunk of time that way.
Okay, so that works. We're gonna go up the mountains through Bradfordshire on foot to heal Liam, while the cart is going to Weston and then Morag.
I guess
that's where we'll
sending
meet him.
all 4 horses with the cart then.
Well, I mean, they'll
That's
at
up
least.
to Liam.
Yeah, that's up to you guys.
No, I would assume only 2 horses need to go with the cart, and we got 4 total. So
Now, do you
me and
think it'll
Blood are
be
going
easy-
to keep our horses.
Will it be easier to go without them when we're traversing the mountain, or?
Well, I mean, if
we're
it
not
gets
gonna
really
do-
steep, then we're gonna be walking uphill, and the horses will be walking on the side. You won't ride on a horse on a steep incline,
What
but
if
the
we
horse
have-
can traverse whatever we can.
What do we have to do?
Yeah, but he also said there was. Yeah, he also said there could be climbing involved as well.
And a vertical climb.
That all depends on how we navigate it. I mean, you want to give all the horses to? I don't want to lose gravel. Fuck you.
We will get gravel back. Same thing with shadows. I don't want to lose my fucking. Oh.
Yeah, I think it will. I don't know if it will increase Tomas's speed if he has more horses. I would assume it would.
Probably a bit.
Getting them there faster and safer. More safe.
Yeah.
And the plan is to meet up with them, so it's not like we're never going to see him again.
Vale, I think the word you were looking for was less dead.
Less deaderist.
Well, so is that what you guys are going to do?
That's what I'm trying to
Wouldn't it be
persuade.
horrible if we accidentally confused Eloise with one of the other horses and she went with Tomas?
Yeah, that would be funny.
I would implore Eloise to talk to the horses to make sure they're okay with this situation, I guess.
Okay.
Tell them if they see a blue dragon man to run for it.
So you cast your speak with animals, Eloise, and they say, "Well, Eloise, we'll do whatever it is you think is best. If you want us to stay with the half man and these sickly people, and we'll do that for you."
Well, I just think it would be much safer for you guys because we're going to be going up through mountains, and I really don't want to risk you guys, and I mean, that would just be terrible if you broke a leg or split a hoof. Like, that would just suck.
We trust your judgment, Eloise. We'll listen to you, and they kind of nuzzle you a little bit.
And I'm going to behind the cheeks, and I'm gonna like massage behind the ears a little bit, rub the star in the middle of their forehead.
Okay. So it sounds like you all get up for the day. Eloise casts her water walk on the horses and herself and a few other people, and you all work together to transport these people to the carriage.
To be clear, ritually cast.
Yes.
Okay.
Tomas does agree to take the people, and to head towards Weston and then Bradfordshire. And he says, I'll do my best and take care of them. And it's kind of tight. They have to, couple of you have to stay on the roof, but it is able to. And you do attach the 4 horses, and unless Kyle, you're telling him to stop, you can tell him to stop, dude.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Then you do attach all 4 horses, and Tomas takes how much food are you giving them, by the way?
I give him a bag of apples for the horses.
I'll give them all my rations. I can cast Goodberry now, so.
Okay, so go ahead and adjust your character sheets accordingly, what you give them to survive.
So all 10 rations from me.
I'll give a few.
I don't even know if I have rations.
Well, go ahead and text it to me later, what you guys give them, so I can make adjustments.
I also have a pint of molasses I can give.
Yeah, like I said, add everything to just a note, and I'll add it to the thing, and I'll do my rolls later, and I'll probably write a little story about what happens to them.
Oh, great.
We never see him again.
You never see them again. They're all dead. And then you guys use your water walking to go across the lake and head up towards the mountains. I'm going to end the session with this. As you guys make it across the lake and heading up the mountains, it is an interesting challenge because you're just walking up an incline. It does wear you out a bit as doing this, but you spend your day getting as far as you can before you all take a rest. As you're all sitting down to take your rest, Eloise, make a perception check, please.
Oh, shit.
18.
Eloise, you can feel a presence. It's almost as if you're being watched, but at the same time, it's a little weird, and you kind of look over your shoulder, and you can see everyone else doing their business, getting ready for camp. You can... Do you fight this sensation, or do you allow it?
I allow it.
Okay. You feel it there for a little while. And then after about 10 minutes or so, it disappears. And you no longer feel that presence. And you kind of wonder about it for a little bit, but you settle down for bed. Blood from a stone. You are laying down and you're just starting to drift off. And as you're settling in for the night, you hear a voice in your mind. The voice says, "So I hear you decided to ignore my advice. Good. I'm still on the boat, but I'll be back before long. Be seeing you real soon." And it's a voice you recognize.
Looking forward to it.
Golden tongue.
Looking forward to it.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode.
Damn.
So thanks everybody for watching tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you follow us here on Twitch and check us out on our other social media. So thank you for watching the second chapter that we're walking into, first episode of our second season. On behalf of everybody here at the Faab Five, I want to say thank you for watching. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next Monday. Good night.
Peace.